Cassie ain't the bitch y'all think she is. I always say this, man. Domestic violence is not always abuse because some bitches like to fight. Cassie is the same woman that would go to Puff Daddy's house while Kim Porter was alive and watch Puffy beat on Kim, cuss Kim out, abuse Kim, and laugh at Kim. Kim's friends have came out and it's documented that they say Cassie used to be torturing Kim with Puff. She is.
So what do you guys consider wifey material?
Cook, clean. I just say you want a slave, dude.
Yeah, like you just
cook, clean.
You want the traditional joint.
I know, right?
This is my wife.
I hooked up with a blood diamonds dealer in South Africa, and then we took his private jet to like a gorilla reserve in Uganda where we like exchanged diamonds for cash, and then we flew home.
Would you say you hate men?
I hate the patriarchy. There's a lot of really good men.
Judd?
Answer the question.
Do I hate men? No.
That's a lie.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. This lying, you know what? Oh my goodness. I knew I had it. I know I'm sorry for the late live stream, but I had to do this. I had to do this one. By the way, can I get an amen in the chat? Press 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Press 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I'm going to do a quick sound check myself on my phone. I got a weird message on StreamYard regarding my stream. I just want to make sure. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Man, she ought to be ashamed. Karrine Steffans, aka Superhead, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Dude, don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't prove me right. Now the sickness has spread. You know what I mean? It's like, why do this? Why do this? Now they're asking Karrine Steffans, oh, do you when you was with Diddy, what happened? Do you remember anything weird happening to you? Blah blah blase and all that. Now she's trying to say, I don't remember actually quite what happened. Now she trying to pull that card now after all the books she done read about sleeping with all these rappers, all these musicians, producers, CEOs. Her nickname is literally Superhead. And now she's trying to play that, oh, I don't remember what happened actually. Come on. Trying to imply that Diddy did something to you. Now let's not do this. Let's not do this. But we already knew that was going to happen. I'm talking about to all the 304s that was 304ing. No matter what kind of outcome they got. It's not the so-called losers anymore. It's the ones that actually got what they wanted now, but it's still not enough. It's still not enough. You would have thought, because the way Karrine Steffans be, Superhead, the way that she be bragging, you'd have thought she got everything. Nope. Nope. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. This is a disgrace. But we will be going over the Karrine Steffans talking about her encounter with the diddler and how she doesn't remember actually quite what happened that night. Of course you don't remember, because she's been with so many she's been with many men. Of course you don't remember quite what happened. It's too many men to to remember, right? But we'll get into that. But what I want to go in first, what I want to go on first is the Ben McLemore situation, if I may. Ben McLemore. McLemore. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. So right here, this is the guy who was found guilty for rape on a woman. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and I think going by what everybody else is saying, which is a little bit dangerous, but it looks like this is another situation where this is clearly a situation where I think he feels like he's innocent, and this was really a nothing burger. But because it is a white woman, I'm pretty sure this is a white woman. There's no like if it wasn't a white woman, this wouldn't even gone to court. So this is big black man, innocent white woman, and she's saying he did something to her, and alcohol was involved. So now they're just gonna lean on the side of, oh, he probably did something to her. And since the memo's basically pretty much out there now, where if a woman is drunk, even if the man is drunk as well, the man is he's still guilty if sexual relations occur. So that memo's already been out there. So there's still a lot of dudes out here that they thought that there's because guys like Ben McLemore and who else, Trevor Bauer, right? These guys, who else? Donnie Alves, who got found guilty, but then they found out he was innocent. Mason Greenwood, right? These people, et cetera, et cetera. They think, because they're famous athletes or whatever, women want to be with them, which is true, that they don't have to worry about none of these things. But they don't understand a lot of these dudes that are quote unquote guilty of these things, nothing really happened. It's just a regret situation. So this is why I've been trying to warn dudes for a minute, particularly with the new women now. They can be the biggest sluts in the world. They can be, and we already know these bitches, they love to drink. They love drugs. They're fiends. Bottom line, they're alcoholics, they're drug fiends. But we live in an age of what we call retroactive consent. So the day you slept with her or whatever, it could have been good that night. You could have gone home, everything was all good. But a couple of days later, or months later, or years later, if she regrets that situation, or if she's in a situation where she found a guy that was going to take her serious, and then she found out she slept with somebody like a Ben McLemore, then she's going to be like, well, it wasn't consensual. And then now you're in court. Now you're facing serious prison time. This is the world that we live in. And there's a lot of men that they still don't understand. You need to keep receipts. You need to keep your text messages. You need to keep your everything. You need to keep your screenshots, all of that. Because this clearly might be a situation where Ben McLemore is like, yeah, I fucked her, but I didn't he clearly didn't keep no screenshots. He clearly didn't keep any evidence to help him. Because usually that's all it takes. It's just all you need is some screenshots, but clearly he didn't keep any. So anyways, let's watch a little bit of that video right here. He said it was justice. Former Portland Trailblazer sentenced to prison for the R word, SA of women at teammates' house party. Here we go. A judge sentenced former Portland Trailblazer Ben McLemore on Wednesday for raping a woman at a Lake Oswego house party in 2021. Bruh. Let's press play. Oh, they got to add. They got to add. Let's turn the music off and let's play the ad. We're going to play the ad. I kind of, man, all my ads are basically snitching on me right now. This is crazy work, but it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so let's play the news clipping. See if we can speed it up because they talk way too slow.
Will spend more than 8 years in prison for raping a woman at a teammate's house party. A Clackamas County judge sentenced McLemore this morning.
Calaboshi was in the courtroom for...
Okay, what did I just do? I hit X. I exit out. Oh, Lord. What did I just do? I messed it up. Oh, man. Let's try this again. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. Sorry, guys. Here we go.
House party. A Clackamas County judge sentenced McLemore this morning.
Calaboshi was in the courtroom for today's hearing, and Kyle, the judge, heard from the victim before issuing his sentence.
And the victim made it clear this wasn't about money. This was about holding him accountable for the harm he caused.
A Clackamas County judge sentenced former Portland Trailblazer Ben McLemore to more than 8 years in prison following his conviction on rape and sex abuse charges. His victim spoke during Wednesday's sentencing. We agreed not to show her face.
At the time of the assault, I had no idea who Mr. McLemore was. And when I found out, I will admit there was hesitation. I questioned whether I should really have...
What? Please. Oh, no. This. So we're going to start off just lying. At the time of the assault, I had no idea who Mr. McLemore was. Please. This ninja, how tall is Matt McLemore? Because we already know, like, the average NBA player, the average size of an NBA player is 6'5", 6'6". And if I'm not mistaken, Ben McLemore he's a power forward or a small forward, if I'm not mistaken. So those guys are usually like 6'7", 6'8". Stop it. Hold on for a sec. Ben McLemore height. He's got to be okay, 6'3". Okay, my fault. Is he a point guard? Was he a point guard or a shooting guard? Okay, he's a shooting guard. Still, he's 6'3". He's still towering over most people at whatever party you was at. Oh, I didn't know who the big black dude with the tats and and the person that had all the at an NBA party, mind you. The party was at an NBA player's house. But I didn't know who Ben McLemore was. Please. Please. But the problem is too, when you talk about, because when alcohol is involved, when alcohol is involved, it kind of it muddies up. How do I say this without people getting upset? This is why, where a lot of these cases do go to court, especially nowadays, they can't really give a proper judgment, because in 90% of these cases, alcohol is involved. I'm gonna have to read the lawsuit of this. This is ridiculous. I'm looking at the quote and I'm like, this got to be cap. But we gonna let it go. Oh, let me do another sound check. I hope you guys are hearing the sound when it comes to. Hope you're hearing the sound with this. Let me just make sure. Let me make sure of something real quick.
Like move forward and report what had happened, especially given his status. But I couldn't let it go. No one is above the law, no matter who they are or what position they hold.
Guilty of the charge.
Last week, a jury found McLemore guilty after a nearly 2.5-week trial. Prosecutors say McLemore raped the woman at a party in the fall of.
Okay, man, my bad. I just had to check if the sound was working in terms of the sound was playing in the tab. Because I don't know, because StreamYard had gave me a strange message. Let me see. At the time of the I had no idea who Mr. Macklemore was, and then when I found out, I will admit there was hesitation, and I questioned whether I should really move forward and report what had happened, especially given his status.
And report what had happened, especially given his status, but I couldn't let it go. No one is above the law, no matter who they are or what position they hold.
Guilty of the charge.
Last week, a jury found Macklemore guilty after a nearly 2.5-week trial. Prosecutors say Macklemore raped the woman at a party in the fall of 2021. The assault took place at the Lake Oswego home of Macklemore's then teammate, Robert Covington. During trial, the woman testified.
People know who Robert Covington is. It's especially this happened, and they said it happened in Portland, Oregon. People know who Robert Covington is. Stop. So it's safe to assume. First of all, what is a 21-year-old doing at one of these party like this? You know, she could be working, she could be at school, she could be doing homework, she could be finishing, you know, her midterms or finals. They seem to always be in the vicinity of these people and act like, oh, I didn't know this player was at they always say, I didn't know this player was at this party, or I didn't know there's going to be NBA players at this party. That's baloney. Come on. This is ridiculous. But anyway.
She was incapacitated after a night of heavy drinking and unable to consent. The two were strangers and never spoke beyond exchanging names.
This is interesting. So let's hear the details again. Let's hear the details again real quick.
Of heavy drinking and unable to consent. Testified she was incapacitated at the Lake Oswego home of Macklemore's then teammate, Robert Covington. During trial, the woman testified she was incapacitated after a night of heavy drinking and unable to consent. The two were strangers and never.
Okay, so she said after it was a night of heavy drinking, she couldn't consent. Interesting. But this is why we even tell dudes those days of, oh, I'm finna get a bitch drunk and we finna get it on. Even if you're drunk yourself, if you take her down after she's been drinking, even just a little bit, you're going to jail. That's how it works now. That's how it works. Mind you, you could literally tell the girl, please stop drinking, and she's not gonna listen. Mind you. Because I've been in that situation before where all of a sudden, oh, a girl want to get taken down, and she's clearly drunk out of her mind. Especially when you're talking about Caucasian girls. Caucasian girls are the best at doing this. Getting wasted, getting effed up, talking hella trash, talking shit, going up to dudes talking about I could take all of you guys at once. I'm talking about sexually. They will say this in the party, then wake up the next day and act like they don't know what happened. This is white girls. I'll say, yeah, when you talking about Caucasian girls are infamous for this. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. That's how, like, this has to be a Caucasian girl. Has to be.
Spoke beyond exchanging names.
Rape is not a word to be taken lightly. It's not something that should ever be used as a joke or a casual accusation. I fully understand the gravity of the word and the damage that it causes and the lives that it destroys.
No, you don't. Well, I'll say this. Actually, yes, she does. She just doesn't. She doesn't care that it's being used on broski here.
The woman explained this case was never about financial gain.
No amount of money could ever undo the damage he caused, and it wasn't compensation I was seeking. It was justice.
Damn, that means she. You know what? I already know what happened. So this is clearly a girl that has parents with money. This started to make more sense now. I guess word must have gotten around. Somebody, either her family or her beta Brad boyfriend, had found out she slept with Ben Macklemore, and then she said, well, I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing. Oh, man. Come on, white girl. Come on. Don't do this. Because you know, white girls, they know they can pull that anytime. They know they can pull this at any time. This is why I tend to be, and it's not a diss towards white girls. It's just I know how they are. I've been around them too long. I know exactly how they are. White girls are like, when you talk about predators, right? People that I don't take lightly, because people, for some reason, especially, dudes, I guess people don't want to say that, oh, I'm afraid of girls, or I'm leery of girls, because I guess people might feel like you're weak for saying that. No, girls are dangerous, dog. People just, because people are just thinking about it in a physical, in a physical way. No, if you ask a dude, would you rather get punched in the face or get labeled a grapist? Dude will take 1,000 punches to the face than get labeled a grapist, especially when nothing even happened. Because it's not even just talking about prison or jail, it's just your reputation. So even if you get cleared of the accusation, it still lingers around your name. It's still attached to you. That hat still gets attached to you. That's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. And we already know when a white girl goes and points her finger, and the finger she's pointing it at is at a ninja as well, good luck. You better have a good lawyer. Especially if it's like a normie white girl. Not like you see how, like, even with the Shannon Sharp situation, what's kind of going against her right now is she is an OnlyFans girl, right? But if it's like a normie girl, a normie white girl, an innocent looking white girl, and she points her finger, she's gonna get the result. She's gonna get what she's asking for. So a lot of men are still catching up to it, especially black men. They still don't understand. A lot of them still don't understand what you're dealing with when you're dealing with particularly young Caucasian women.
Former Trailblazer now wears a different uniform, standard issue black and white stripes from the Clackamas County Jail. In addition to serving more than 8 years in prison, Macklemore will be required to register as a sex offender.
I need to see more of the story, because from the little tidbits of the story I got, I have a pretty decent. Okay, and then what they say? How old she is? 21 years old. Yeah, I already know what happened. This is a girl with parents, or a parent with a lot of money. That's what is a 21-year-old college bitch, right, doing at a house party? She not related to none of the players. Oh, I didn't know who Macklemore was. Please, you probably didn't know what his name was. You probably didn't know what his name, but you knew he was in the NBA. She goes, no amount of money could ever undo the damage he caused, and it wasn't compensation I was seeking; it was justice. Cap, because I already know what that situation. She's dealing with. This is a woman, a young woman with parents with a lot of money. And I guess there's also this thing where there's dudes that will say, oh, if you don't bring it to criminal court, like they'll say the only time I'll believe a grape charge is if she brings it to criminal court, and blah blah blah. Now, and for me, I'm saying, like, you, I'm like, and my retort to that would be, that still doesn't, just because she has a police report, you think there's still a chance that she's not lying? Especially when you're talking about celebrities, or when athletes are involved, particularly when Negro athletes are involved, and when it's a Negro athlete and a white woman. White women be lying, dog, because they know the courts, the power that may be, the dudes, whatever. Dudes are just gonna simp, particularly white dudes. They're just gonna take her word for it. So I need to find details of the lawsuit. Okay, so this is interesting. So they're talking about it more in detail in this paragraph, right? So Macklemore had pleaded not guilty to the charges of first-degree rape, first-degree unlawful sexual penetration, and 2 counts of second-degree sexual abuse. So yeah, just even for him, because if we go by the details, he could have pled to a lesser he could have pled to a lesser charge and got lesser time, because he got convicted and he got 8. So I'm gonna assume that he really feels like he was innocent, and I'm gonna stick with Macklemore on this one. It looks like, because he could have pled to a lesser charge and would have been literally he would have been fine. He said the jury found him guilty on all counts except on the counts of sexual abuse. What? Wait. So first degree unlawful. So they found him guilty of first degree rape, but not the second degree sexual abuse. How does that? Okay. He said the defense had argued that the sexual encounter was consensual, but prosecutors had described it as rape. The woman testified during the 2.5-week trial that she was incapacitated due to heavy drinking and was unable to consent. Macklemore admitted that he had also been drinking, but testified that the I knew it, because I'm like, are you sure? Especially with the climate, I'm like, I don't think Ben was dumb enough to be taking on drunk white girls, because even most ninjas already know that's a recipe for disaster. I'm like, he must have been drinking also himself. So if he was drunk and she was drunk, bruh, how is it the responsibility only on him? Okay. He goes, at the time of the assault, I had no idea. Okay, this is what she said. She said, at the time of the assault, I had no idea who Mr. Macklemore was. And when I found out, I will admit there was hesitation. I questioned whether I should really move forward and report what had happened, especially given his status, but I couldn't let it go. No one is above the law, no matter who they are or what position they hold. Okay, I need to know, how did you guys meet? This is what I know you guys are both at the party, but you say you were drunk. He said he was drunk. So what happened in between that? This is what I need to know. I think she's well, not necessarily capping in terms of like she's capping in terms of when she said it's grape. I believe this was a consensual situation and she regretted it because somebody found out and now she has to say it was grape. I think this is what it is. I think this is a young woman that comes from parents with a lot of money. Somebody found out and now she's, to save face, she's saying this was grape. This is my synopsis so far. I need to look at the actual lawsuit where we go into detail, because they're leaving out a lot of stuff in this. But even with the information that I've been given right now, this is pretty clear cut to me. But unfortunately, because if the bitch is drunk, that's all that matters. If she's drunk, then she can say she can say whatever. It's basically up to her. It's basically up to her if she gets drunk. So let me see something. Ben Macklemore lawsuit details. I gotta see the actual. Do people have the actual? I need the paperwork. That's what I need. Because I agree. First and last name, Ben Macklemore. Ben Edward Macklemore. Okay. That's his, I guess that's his full name. I'm sticking with him. Let me see. I'm doing this search like manually to see if this public record reports thing works. I'm trying to see if this works. This is ridiculous. Because with the details that I've been given, it looks like she's lying. This seems like a regret situation. When I mean regret, meaning somebody found out they slept together, and she was probably in line to marry somebody, and okay, let's see, Portland, Oregon, right? That's the state. View results. Okay, I'm getting 4 results. Ben McLemore, age 48. Nope. Looks like I'm not getting what I want here. But anyways, somebody got the paperwork for this lawsuit, so I can get like the full story. Because from the tidbits I'm getting, I'm sorry, especially when they're talking about the girl, the woman was 21 years old. I'm like, oh, I already know what type of time she on. I'm sorry, I already know what kind of woman I'm dealing with. Drunk out of her mind, getting effed up on purpose, and then the next day trying to act like she didn't know what happened. Unlawful penetration. I already know what happened. Okay, so they say the woman said, so I'm looking at this detail right here. Oh no, they're not giving me the results I want on the search. But let's look at this. Let's look at this news article with Ben McLemore. They're saying right here. See, ex Trailblazer Robert Covington testifies in former teammates' grape trial. Okay. Dismiss. Okay, so he had a witness where Robert Covington is saying that like the woman was all over him. Which is people, I don't think people do. When I see people particularly when I see young men that actually get in trouble with this stuff in the courts, you can tell like it's either you're dealing with a jury of all women or dudes that don't go to parties at all, or these are dudes that have no idea what women are like at night. Because I'm pretty sure in that I'm pretty sure she was doing the most. Because I don't know. I've seen, especially like the stuff that I do, even when I would do like these music gigs with older gentlemen, and you see these older white women start dancing and they start drinking, they be doing the most, bro. Telling you, yo, it don't really matter the age, really. They be doing the most. Let me see. It says former Trailblazer Robert Covington took the witness stand Wednesday in the grape trial of former teammate Ben McLemore, testifying that he saw a woman trying to arouse McLemore while the two were on a couch in Covington's Lake Oswego home in the pre-dawn hours of October 3rd, 2021. The woman testified last week that Macklemore raped her as she lay under a blue blanket incapacitated after a night of drinking. Blah, blah, blah. So they're saying that Robert Covington came to his defense and said, like, yo, she was the one on him. That's crazy. Oh, Lord. Anyways. But damn, it seems that's the only thing that they wrote. That's the only thing that they wrote for that. He says she says she woke up at one point during the grape and froze in terror. I don't know who this person is, she testified. This is a random person that is doing something like this to me. Anyway, let me keep reading. Well, it looks like she did it's the same playbook, but I guess this time she won. It's the same playbook. I didn't know who she was. I froze. They always be saying that they froze. Anyways, he said, I don't know who this person is, blah, blah, blah. He said the Associated Press generally does not identify victims of SA. Yeah, of course you don't. He says at one point she says she let her body slide to the floor in an effort to stop the assault. That's cap. They said the woman testified Macklemore pulled her back onto the couch and continued. Covington earlier testified he saw the woman flirting with Macklemore while they sat on the couch. Of course. So Macklemore testified he was also drinking but claimed the sex was consensual. He also said he and the woman did not have a conversation before, during, or after the act, after which he immediately... That's funny, man. He didn't do no aftercare. He did no aftercare. He didn't make sure she was straight. He didn't drive her to McDonald's afterwards. He didn't give her no money. Yeah, I keep trying to tell it, like, these dudes don't understand, especially like the basketball players, they really think these bitches really like them for them. But they're using the women are using them as well, but in a different way. So you need to make sure you're protecting yourself. So this is I knew it. This is clearly a situation where he don't know the bitch. The bitch was on him. He's like, oh, she choosing. All right, I'll hit this real quick and go back home to my family. Yo, those days are over, dog. Where you could just sleep with a bitch and then just forget about her. No, those days are over. Those days are over, dog. And if you're gonna do that, you better have prepaid for her. I'm talking about just the days of you just meet up with a bitch you don't know, and you smash. You don't have to hear or worry about her again for the rest of your life. Those days are over. It don't matter if you're in the NBA or not. Those days are over. All right. He said one of his attorneys, Chris Weinmiller, said Macklemore left after receiving an angry message from his then wife, who tracked him and wanted to know why he wasn't in there at the house. So he was cheating. Lord have mercy. Clackamas County prosecutor Scott Healy said there was no confusion when you look at all the surrounding circumstances and you assess the evidence in this case. I submit to you that the defendant is guilty. Of course, he says that. Says another defense attorney, Lisa Maxfield, argued for Macklemore's acquittal. He said the only reasonable verdict in a case where two people get drunk and have sex and the man is drunker than the woman, the only reasonable verdict in a case like that is not guilty. But like I said, it doesn't matter. This is how it works now. I'm talking about both of you can be drunk. If sexual relations happen, even if both of you guys are drunk, the man still has more of the the man has more of the responsibility. It doesn't like I've been trying to, this is the world that we live in now. He said the woman says she did not hire an attorney to sue Macklemore and didn't seek money from him. Instead, she pursued the criminal case because you can't do that to somebody, let alone somebody that you don't know. Nah, that's a cover because we already know she's. I'm pretty sure there's a reason why they're hiding her name. There's a reason. Like if she was poor, they actually would have put her name out there. You know that, right? This is how it works. People be like, oh, we need to hide it. It depends on what family you come from. A lot of the times we find out these people's names is because they don't their family is not really connected to anyone of clout. So you can find out certain people's names, certain people's families. But with this one, they're keeping it tight-lipped because clearly she comes from a family where they have some money or they have some kind of clout. So now they're trying to be, oh, she didn't try to sue him. So clearly something happened. Nah, that's a cover. She's coming from money. I already know what that is. White women have a very the playbook with white women. I know it too well. I know it too well. Especially when you're talking about white women with money. But the problem is they still want to dabble in the dark, right? They still want to do things. They still want to be adventurous. But when they get caught and they about to lose something, whether it be their beta Brad boyfriend or their inheritance or their reputation, right? All of a sudden, they're gonna play that. I didn't know what was happening. I was drunk. Talk about I didn't know who he was. Oh, please. Please. Please, please, please. Please. I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that. Let me try Google. Ben Macklemore lawsuit details or criminal charge. Oh, there's actually a search engine where I could actually find the details for this. Okay. All right, here. So we got a little bit more details with this. It said October 3rd, 21, after a party. They were teammates. Victim had been drinking heavily and was hammered unconscious drunk. Well, white bitches in their beer, boy. It's the most alcohol the woman ever had to drink in her life and the most intoxicated she's ever been. But like I said, accountability. It's never going to happen. Okay, they said the victim vomited earlier in the evening and witnesses said she had difficulty walking, slurred speech, and can barely lift her head. Victim passed out on a large living room couch around 2 a.m. Sometime later, Macklemore later began sleeping on the same couch. Around 6 a.m., the victim regained partial consciousness when Macklemore sexually penetrated her with his fingers, then began having sexual intercourse with her. Victim was fading in out of consciousness, frightened and traumatized. So they're saying this happened at 6 a.m. They both passed out because both of them was drunk. So they said this happened around 6 a.m. on a couch. This sound like, yo, you know what this? I remember one of the, oh shoot. Who's in the chat? Who's in the chat? Oh, hold on for a second. My bad. Let me share the screen. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. Do you remember, Pyro, do you remember the chat? Or sorry, the story I was talking about when it was like that 17-year-old boy? He had technically he had two girls when I was in college. It was a 17-year-old dude. He crashed in our couch, in our living room couch, and he had one of the bitches. He was sleeping with one of the bitches, and the woman wanted to sleep with him like so bad, but he was too drunk, right? This is reminding me of this a little bit. Even like in the morning, she was trying to get him to sleep with him, but he just couldn't. He couldn't do anything. Yeah, that story. Like, I was hoping you remember that story. I was like, huh? I'm like, they on the couch, both of them heavily intoxicated. I'm sitting there. Oh hell no! It's the problem, especially when alcohol is involved. This is why, like, because it looks so from the looks of it, both of them were drunk. See, it says the victim passed out. Okay, let me zoom in just to make sure. Just want to make sure people don't think I'm making this stuff up. Oh man. He said the victim regained partial consciousness when Macklemore, blah, blah, blah. The victim was fading in and out of consciousness, frightened and traumatized, Healy said. Later that day, she sought a specialized medical examinations for victims of SA. He said defense attorneys for Macklemore disputed the victim's accounts of events. They claim she initiated the sexual contact and consented to it. I believe that as well. I think this is a regret thing, but it looks for me, I think this is what's being left out of this one. And this is gonna happen later on. This is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like a year. You can call me on this. It's gonna be a year later from now. A year or 2 years later. The same thing happened with Mason Greenwood, right? It's going to be about a year, max 2 years. Give it a max 2 years. But I will say in a year later, details are going to come out. Somebody's going to say, oh, somebody in her family or somebody found out she slept with so-and-so. And because she was embarrassed or because she was going to get in trouble. This is like this exact kind of scenario, or because she has her version of events, Ben Macklemore has his version of events, because the defense attorneys are saying she initiated the sexual contact, and I believe that, especially when you're dealing with a situation like that. If they say they was both passed out on the couch, I already know what that looks like. Like I've seen that. I already know what that looks like. Let me see. It says defense attorneys for Macklemore disputed the victim's count. Okay, Macklemore's attorneys asserted that although the victim and Macklemore were both intoxicated and at the time of the encounter, the victim was sober enough to consent. I believe so as well. This is a situation, I believe, because remember, this is a 21-year-old. I don't know where she lives, but she probably lives with her parents. But somebody, either her parents found out or her boyfriend found out, because you already know these girls that be going to these parties, they be having whole boyfriends at home. Somebody in her circle found out. And when word started getting around, then she pulled the I didn't know what happened card. So damn, that's sad. It's sad. It looks like Sucks. It sucks because now Ben McLemore, he's gonna what they said 8 years in prison. 8 years they said. Sorry guys, I'm using a different browser today. I'm using a different browser today. Let's say ex NBA guard sentenced to more than 8 years in prison. I want to see the comments. I want to see the public reaction to this. No, I'm not subscribing to The Athletic. I want to go to a page where I can see the reactions of the people. Here we go. I think she's lying. Well, sorry, not lying. This is clearly a regret. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a year or two from now. Something like it's gonna be a year or two from now, and then more details is gonna come out. But it's gonna be too late. So it might be too late to even pardon him, or he might. It's gonna be something's gonna happen where it's gonna be like a year or two. Then the details are gonna come out, and then he's gonna be available for parole. And since everybody will see that the details come out that he's actually innocent, they will give him an opportunity where he could be released early. But it's still going to be on his record. But people will know like, oh damn, he got done dirty. That's what's going to happen with him. Because I remember this is what happened. When I saw the sentencing on Twitter, and you already know on Twitter, it was just simps on there saying, oh man, I don't feel bad for guys like this. And the reason why dudes will say stuff like this, oh man, I don't feel bad for guys like this, is because people are just, I think people see these basketball players and they just get jealous because they're getting all the hoes. And I trust me, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But that shouldn't stop you from seeing the truth. Hey, shout out to Nick. Nick's in the chat. Yep, Pyro said, my red flag is a woman who drinks. Well, like I said, that technically qualifies as a number one red flag. You know what I mean? But the problem is, especially when you're dealing with Caucasian women, you can't tell them. You'll tell them, please don't go to this party, or where are you going, right? And they will call you insecure, toxic, controlling, because you already know what kind of party she's going to. She's going to a party where there's going to be certain athletes there, and you're like, why are you going there? Let me see. Nick said, Chris, what up, man? Hey, I think they took down your vid with the old girl saying dude should have 8 kids because his height. That was a banger. So, Nick, let me tell you what happened with that situation. So, that video that I dropped with King 6 8 the Great, the video got banned off of my YouTube. So that's what happened. So they gave me a warning. They removed it. I appealed it. I appealed the ruling. Less than an hour later, they said we reject your appeal. So I had to remove the video. They already removed it off my timeline anyways. They said it was because they said they removed it because of hate speech. That I swear to you, I'm not making this stuff up. They said that was hate speech. So I appealed it, and now they whatever. So now they said if I drop another video similar to that, I'm going to get a second strike on my channel. So I didn't get a second strike on my channel. I got a warning. So in the next 90 videos, if I drop a video similar to that video, I will get a second strike on my channel. Now, I don't know how that video qualifies as hate speech. I'm perplexed. I think it's because I put black pill in the title. I think that's really what it is. I put black pill on the title, and then you got to understand as well. They're really cracking down on manosphere content. This is something I predicted in 2022, where I would hear commentators when they would talk about the red pill. What they would do is they would always say red pill incel content. They would always group the incels with the red pill. They would continue to keep saying that red pill incel content, red pill. And I started picking up on that in 2022. And I was like, oh, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the red pill or the manosphere. They're trying to make it the boogeyman. So when things don't go wrong, when bitches can't get married, right, and all this stuff, so they have something to blame. Right, when dudes aren't doing this or dudes aren't quote unquote contributing to society, they're gonna blame it on Andrew Tate in red pill incel content. That's the play. I said this in 2022. I was like, oh, I already know what they're trying to do. This is now I don't think Pyro was on my channel during that time, but Lorette Hamilton was on my channel. I don't know if she remembers that, but I already predicted that. I literally predicted this in 2022. This is when I would be on my live streams, and I would do my live streams on OBS. That was before StreamYard. That was way before StreamYard, right? But I predicted that was going to happen. Even because you even see, like, now they talk about these shows like Adolescence and all these. That's all propaganda. I'm not watching that shit. I'm not watching that. Oh man. So Nick says, I think Ben got set up for real. Yeah, of course. That was well, not necessarily set up, but like that's just the classic, because remember, she's quick to mention, oh, I didn't ask for any money. Well, that's because the young woman clearly is coming from a family with a lot of money. This is why they're also hiding her identity. They're not hiding her identity because they've leaked a lot of other bitches' identity when people was able to figure it out. They're hiding her identities because she's clearly connected to somebody with money, or her parents are connected to somebody with some serious clout. But either way, she's clearly coming from a family with a lot of money. She's 21 years old. She was getting hammered drunk. This is not the first. You see how they also, like, in the what's the paperwork? They were trying to make it what they said right here. It says the victim had been drinking heavily and was hammered, unconscious, drunk that night. It's the most alcohol the woman ever had to drink in her life and the most intoxicated she's ever been. That's cap. We already know that's cap. She's a drunk. That's what she is. She's a girl that likes to get effed up. All that, oh, this is the most she ever drank in her life. Man, please stop. Oh man. He said, I didn't even know dude was in court. He said, Covington should have held that nigga down. He shouldn't have let this happen. Well, he did testify for him. It did say he did testify for him. Let me see if I can bring it back. Let me see. Because it did say Covington did go on the stand and said that he went on the stand and said that she initiated the flirtation with Ben McLemore. He did go on the stand and try to say that, but that's all he could say because it was a one night stand type situation. There was no phone numbers exchanged. There was no information exchange. It's just her word against his. This wasn't a situation where she texted him, she texted her, or before or after. They don't have each other's numbers or details. This is a simple case of, this was a situation. They both get drunk. and sexual relations occurred. And so Ben McLemore, he doesn't really have any receipts. All he has is people like Covington that came to his defense. That was like, look, she was flirting with him at first. She initiated sexual contact with him, right? She was doing the flirting with him. That's all he has. That's all he has. He said, the public is going to take the girl side. Oh yeah, they did, including the dudes. Like I said, dudes, they won't admit this, but they're too jealous of athletes to ever give them the benefit of the doubt. Especially when black male athletes are concerned, if they see anything negative pertaining to those athletes, they're just gonna believe it. I already came to that conclusion when I was a kid, and my position has not changed. And mind you, I'm not talking about just white dudes. I'm talking about black dudes too. It's the funniest thing, because what especially what a lot of white dudes don't understand is, like, those basketball players or football players, they're taking the black girls dudes too. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like, how like you have like PC gamers, they complain about controller players, whatever, and aim assist. Oh my gosh, they're ruining the game. I'm like, you do know that there's other controller players too. They got to deal with these same hacking ass ninjas as well. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of dudes, they forget that there's other, like, most dudes are not athletes. Most dudes are not on the sports teams, right? When you're talking about high school, college, most dudes are not on the team. Most dudes are not this popular or whatever, or at these, you know what I mean? It's a small percentage of dudes that are on these teams that have clout, So especially when you're dealing with, or just athletes in general, they're gonna have an advantage. And there's a lot of normie dudes that they're just it's a natural jealousy, and trust me, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But I grew up at a time where, remember, like, there's a saying that we say that, like, damn, I wouldn't even wish this on my worst enemy, right? That's something I still live by. That there's certain things I hate about certain people. Like, there's certain dudes I know right now, if I saw them, it would be on sight. But if a bitch was to come out and say, oh, he did this to me, I'm still gonna do my investigation. I'm talking about, there's dudes that I know that if I saw them, it's low key on sight. But if a bitch is gonna come out and say he did something to her, I need to know. I need to know more. I need to know more. And you're talking to a dude where there's been times where is certain studio sessions I've been in, and I've had to kick dudes out for being too close to certain girls and stuff like that. So this is not me. Oh, I'm just taking the dude's side with it, no matter. No. Bad behavior is bad behavior. But when you're talking about grape, you're talking about, this is a serious charge. But I already know, when I'm dealing, especially when you're dealing with Caucasian women, there's certain scenarios you got to watch out for, right? Especially when you're dealing with, like, a Caucasian woman that's coming from, like, because you don't know what there's certain white women you meet and you don't even know they're connected to, like, certain people. Like, you don't know that their parents have money and stuff like that, right? I know, because I know this one girl that I've been working with on the music side. I don't, like, I've only known her for a little bit, but I already know her parents got money. I know, because she works. It's all the signs. All the signs are there. Went to a music school. She got expensive audio equipment. She can afford expensive audio equipment. She talks about her dad and mom. She works for a nonprofit, but she still has enough money. She's never broke. I'm like, oh, I already know her parents got money. I know that. It's easy. So you gotta the signs are, especially I'll say for this story, the signs are all there. This is a 21-year-old girl. She happens, out of all the places in the world, she happens to be at an NBA player's house party. Out of all the places she could be in the world, she's at an NBA player's house party. Talking about, oh, I don't know. I didn't know who I didn't know who Ben McLemore was. Please. So I already know she's at a place. She got the hookup. She's at the party. She's drinking, over drinking, overcompensating. And then now she's talking about, I didn't know who that guy was. I'm not looking for money. I just want to see him punished. This is clearly a situation, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think I'll say I'm 90% sure this happened. Somebody found out that she was at that party. Or specifically, somebody found out she had sex at that party. And that was going to ruin whatever inheritance that she was going to get, or her parents were going to be upset, or her beta boyfriend was going to be upset. Like she had a beta in waiting to marry her, similar to the Sacred Heart. Remember the Sacred Heart situation with the girl where she said those two guys raped her, but it turns out there was another guy that she liked, and he found out that she slept with those two dudes in the bathroom, and then she ended up saying that they raped her, right? So this is it's the same. It's the playbook is not the playbook is very it's I'm telling you, Nick, watch this. Watch this, Nick. Watch this. And Pyro, listen. You probably, I think Pyro already heard it. But Nick, watch this. I'm telling you, 2 years. It's gonna be. Give it 2 years max. Give it 2 years max. He's gonna be rotting in that cell for about 2 years. Give it 2 years max. Then I'm telling you, more information is gonna come out about this case, and then somebody's gonna come forward and be like, "Well, somebody found out that she slept with Ben McLemore, and then somebody got mad." I'm telling you, this. Once that information comes out, then the public is gonna regain sympathy for Ben McLemore. That's what's gonna happen. But this is what usually happens. Pyro said PC players have a higher advantages of speed and more FPS. Yeah, like like I said, every like PC players they complain about controller players. Mind you, I've been both. I've been a PC player, controller player. Everybody has their advantages and disadvantages, right? Because I would hear PC players, they complain about the controller players and being eliminated by them. I'm like, so how do you think the other controller players feel about the other controller players? You know what I mean? So it's just like it's kind of a mute point, in my opinion, when PC players complain about controller players. So Nick said, yeah, he should have moved smarter. If she's drunk, leave her alone. I'm thinking dude had NDAs, cameras, or something. No, this was a house party. He was drunk as well. That's what he said. He said he was drunk. She was drunk. This is according to Ben. And I assume that's such. I assumed as such. I was like, oh. I'm like, there's no way in the year of 2021 he was just having sex with a hammered white chick just off GP, because we already know there's been too many shows. there's too many shows, right? Too many examples. Ninjas that have been lynched for way less. Like ninjas been lynched for way less. So ninjas know better. So clearly he must have. I was like, he must have been on something that night too. But the problem is, it don't matter if both of you guys are drunk. If both the woman and the man is drunk, they still assume that the man should have the responsibility. And if sexual relations occur, he still assumes responsibility. This is just how our court system works. Nick said, when you dating her, you're dating her friends, her family, her orbiters. That's what people don't know. This is why when we be like, I only trust only a few dudes. All those, because what ends up happening is it'll be one dude that do like something cringy, and then that dude gets put on blast in the group chats to her friends, to all of these people. So now you're going to these spots and your reputation is already ruined because you hiccuped one too many times on the date. Literally, that's what's happening. Even, you know, what they got, the T app now, where women can literally just talk about their encounters with a man. They could put his whole information on there, and for all we know, they could be just lying on the dude, but they're just allowed to put your information and say what it was like dating you and all this. I'm like, how is this even allowed? That's the world that we live in. And they know, and then they, for some reason, they can't fathom why it's like a few dudes in the dating pool, or there's only a few dudes that they can trust, or there's only a few dudes. It's like we're all dating the same dudes. You're all, yes. Of course you are. Pyro said, I'm both of them, complaining about aim assist. Yeah. PC players, they cry a little bit too much about the aim assist thing. Like I don't, it's like I don't have to deal with the same thing if I'm playing with controller, or if I'm playing it in a lobby with other controller players, you know. But anyways, but you could see, like, with this story that I just opened up with Ben McLemore, you clearly see what the theme of today is. It's what I warned. Whenever they can pull the essay card, they can pull the grape card. That's what women are going to use. They don't care. And I've said this before and I've said this many times. Women, particularly young women, they play with that consent thing. They play with it like it's like Madden sliders. So, you know, when you play Madden and you're losing, you put the sliders up to help you win. This is how women play with consent. So I think that's the perfect analogy. So you understand when you're dealing with a woman, just understand they can pull it. They can pull it on you. They can definitely pull it on you. Don't think you're exempt. Don't think, oh, because I'm not Diddy, or I'm not a freak like Diddy, I can't get a case put on me, right? And just because she brought it to criminal court doesn't mean that she's still not lying, right? Like, remember when I did the story on this girl off of Twitter, and I actually read the police report, and she thought just by dropping the police report that would just validate her, whatever. And I read the report and I was like, nah, I think you're lying. Like, I'm like, you thought I wasn't gonna read it? But they're just banking on people not reading the alleged evidence. When women drop receipts, or when women drop their evidence, they just I don't know, maybe they just assume that dudes are not gonna read it. I'm too curious. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna be like, well, okay, you say this happened and this is the police report. Okay, let me read it. But like I said, the normies are using that card, but it's not just the normies, even the, you know, even the S workers, the OF stars, they're pulling that card, right? I want to show you guys something before I go into the Karrine Steffans situation, because it's a theme I've been noticing lately. It's a theme I've been noticing. And by the way, you know what's interesting? There's certain people that I've seen on TV, and I'll be like, okay, I think this dude is a predator. Or there's certain, like even Corey Holcomb has said, like in the comedy community, he says there's a lot of male predators in that community, right? So I think when people hear us talk about this, they just act like, oh, there's no predators out. There are, but it's usually people that I can't really. If you suspect if somebody's a predator, right? For some reason, they seem to always still have hoes around them. So there's like whatever I do, I'm gonna look like a hater. You know what I mean? It's a lose-lose. But let me see if I can find that clip because there's something I've been noticing. There's this channel on Instagram or YouTube where they're showing all these women that used to do adult film scenes, right? And now they're saying that they got taken advantage of by these studios. It's an interesting grift that's happening. I don't know if I saved it on my Twitter or on my Instagram. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I think this is on my Instagram. But it's this channel it's this channel where they're showing these people. It's the funniest thing. Let me exit out of this. Let me hit save. I gotta find this channel because it's hilarious what they're trying to do revisionist history. Oh, before I even show that, let me show you a video real quick. Watch this. Let's do this video real quick. Oh man. Sorry, I just saw Pyro's comment. Oh man. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is her name is what? Rose is the heart or whatever. She's gonna talk about grape culture in America. So this is interesting. This is quite interesting. Technically, it's us dudes getting it's still most dudes getting the blame for a small percentage of men, but this is still an interesting watch. This is an interesting watch because technically what her presentation is going to entail is going to show that there is no grape culture. Like the way she presents it, she's still blaming most men, but she doesn't understand what the percentages that she showed. It actually shows that there is no grape culture. But this is what we're gonna let her talk.
And I'm not looking to turn you guys against all men forever. That's not what I want to do. What I want to show you is a study that was done at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. This is an eyesore, I'm very well aware, but it has a point, I promise. So there's a study done of 1,882 men in college at UMass Boston. There are 1,882 dots on the screen. Let's get some guesses from everyone of how many of these men you think are undetected rapists. Percentage, number, a fraction if you're into it. Let's get some brave souls. How many do you think? Yeah. At least over half. You think over half? Okay. Who else?
She said over half. So she asked the question, so how many of these people do you think are undetected rapists? She said, oh, this college bitch said over half. What? This ain't India. What are you talking about?
Yeah, 30%. Let's shout it out.
So another woman in the crowd thinks it's 30%. Another girl thinks it's 50%, over 50%. Let's hear the other guesses before we get the real percentage number from the main presenter.
Get some 90%.
Somebody said 90%. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you guys this. I asked my babe, and she's a therapist. She goes, it has to be like 85%.
So she said that a therapist has said it had a prediction. She thought it was 85%. These are the, I keep telling you, stop, don't listen to female therapists. But anyways, let's hear the real percentage. Let's hear the real percentage.
It's 6.4%.
The real percentage of undetected grapists it's 6.4%. So now that already means that 6.4%, technically that's an inflated number, because we've already debunked this is taking into account the categories that they put under grape now. Because remember, it's not like grape isn't like what we thought it was like in like the 90s and 80s and the 2000s. Now they're saying if the bitch was drunk, then it's grape, or if she removes consent after the fact, it's grape, right? So this is taking into effect the inflation of it, and it's still 6.4%. It's still only 6.4% out of those 1,000 men that they did the study on, right?
6%. That's 120 men out of 1,882. 6%.
And that's an inflated number. That's inflated. The 6% is inflated. Now, I'll always say this, because I'm still a type of dude, even if it's 1 out of 1,000, I think that's still one too many. That's just me personally. But that still shows you that's not there's no grape culture going on. Especially when you're talking about a college. Stop, please. I've seen too much, right? But let's let her keep talking.
But here's why it feels like it's all men. Because of these 120, 76 of them were repeat offenders.
So this is interesting. So out of the 120, the 120 out of what's it, 12,000, whatever she said it was, over half of those 120 were repeat offenders. So what she said, 75 out of 126 were repeat offenders. So this is why she says it feels like it's 85% of them. And I'll say this is also why they feel like it's 85% or 90%, because it's the same frat boys, it's the same athletes, it's the same male friends that we're told not to worry about. These are the people that are usually getting accused or found guilty of these kind of things on campus, or that's having a reputation. Is usually people that are part of these groups. Yet these are the same groups of men that women on college go out their way to party with. They don't ever they don't ever party with people in the chess club. They don't party with nobody in the math department or the science department. It's never that. It's always the frat boys, the sorority sisters, the athletes, whatever the sport that may be, and whoever's the most popular person on campus, whether it be the RA, right, or a person with a large Instagram following. These are the people that women on college campuses want to be with. So that's why I'm like, and even with that, so the repeat offenders are usually people, unfortunately, that women want to be with in the first place. You can't even tell them, like you'll tell them, like, look, I don't want you going to this party. There's going to be alcohol. There's going to be a lot of people that I don't know. I won't be able to protect you if something happens. Maybe we should stay home. She's not going to want to hear it. You know what I mean? But it's interesting that point that she brought up. So her point when she brings up the repeat offenders, she ends up concluding by saying this: if you're a man and you don't tell on the repeat offenders, you're part of the problem.
There's 76 individuals who are responsible for 439 rapes.
That's crazy when she's saying it. She says 76 of those individuals were responsible for 439 alleged grapes, right?
That's 6 per rapist. But it doesn't stop there, because those rapists were also responsible for sexual assaults, violence against children, sexual violence against children, and domestic violence against intimate partners, which is 1,064 victims.
This is actually some interesting stuff, though. This actually is some interesting stuff. This is why women might feel like it's all men. But at the same time, we already know women are only going after or sleeping with a small percentage of men. But it's interesting to note that a lot of these people are repeat offenders, right?
That's 14 victims per rapist. Of course, it feels like it's all men. I know this and I'm still scared. But it's not. So I started to ask myself, why? Why does it feel like it's all men? Because if 1 in 10 men are assholes and the other 9 men do nothing, they might as well not be there.
So this is her conclusion. So if 1 in 10 are assholes, but 9 in 10 do nothing, it's like we might as well not be there. So we're still getting them blamed. Like I said, she was almost there. She almost was at the right conclusion, but she just landed. It's like you get a female pilot, right? And you thinking she's shaky a little bit, but then you see her, oh, she's doing a good job, and then it's time to land. You're like, okay, she's been doing a good job. Now she's about to land the plane, and she messes up the easiest part of the I don't know if landing is the easiest part, but I don't know. She messes up the part where everybody's is expected her to nail. That's the point, right? So all the stats that she brought up, this was actually very powerful what she did, because it's not because the stats that she showed, if we're taking it at face value, this is why most women feel like, oh, it's 90% of men are rapists and all this stuff. No, it's because usually the dudes that end up getting caught doing this nonsense, they usually already have a trail of victims in their wake. It's not like this is a one-time thing that they did. They've done other things in the past, whether it be not just grape, but just essay in general. They've groped people, they've groped women, they've groped kids, they've been charged with violent crimes. They've already have a trail of victims with them. It's just when they finally get caught, it's like, okay, they just got caught. So the dudes that are actually doing this, they usually have piles of bodies, piles of lives that they've destroyed. It's not like just a one-time thing with them, right? So that was actually a great point, but it just turned into, it's because the 9 out of 10 men are not doing it. It's just like, oh, here we go, you know?
So how do we fix that? How do we fix that? This is not your sole responsibility to go gather up a bunch of guys and be like, we're going to talk about rape. But it is our responsibility as women to bring the men that we love and trust into these conversations so they know how to help us when that 1 out of 10 is there. And I'm not looking to turn you guys.
Okay. Somebody said, I'm hearing a whole lot of girl math. But anyways, but they keep talking about men have to hold each other accountable. I'm like, what? How do you hold you like a criminal is not going to advertise that they're criminals. Like dudes that are that sick in the head, they're going to make it, they're not going to make it obvious. Right? So when you have dudes like that that are getting away with that, they don't just have male enablers in their life, they also have female enablers, right? So when we're talking about stepfathers or the fathers that stepped up, when you look at the percentage of abuse when it comes to stepfathers, it's like staggering, right? Or when you got all these women saying that, man, I asked my boyfriend what what age did he lose his virginity, and they're saying 13, and it was to his babysitter and all this nonsense, right? So those are really the stats that nobody wants to talk about, and that's a huge part of the problem. But anyway, I just wanted to show that video. But if I can find that video with the pornography stuff, if I could find that series, if I can only find that series, that would really help. This would really help me with the Karrine Steffans thing. You guys might just have to take my word for it. You guys might just have to. Oh, this is okay. This is one of it.
I didn't.
So right here, it's this channel called, what's his name? Yeah, Gianfranco. What's his Gianfranco Martinez. So what he's been doing is he's trying to fight against pornography. He's a Christian dude. He's trying to fight against this, and he's been doing interviews with these people. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if he's doing these interviews specifically, but he's showing, like, what he does is show all these interviews with these former porn stars and blah, blah, blah. And how they're talking about that they were victims in the porn industry, right? And this is why you shouldn't watch pornographies, because most of these porn stars were actually trafficked into the corn scene, which I'm not buying that, but it is what it is.
And then
hold on for a sec. Let's do this one more time. I
didn't know if they would kill me.
Right.
I was quite terrified of that. And then it got more and more threatening. And then like, oh, do you want me to hurt you now? Do you want it to be rougher? And every time I didn't look like I was enjoying it, they would refilm the scene.
Sorry, I saw something in the chat. Oh, it's Ainsley in the chat. Oh, holy. Shout out to Ainsley, man. Yeah, this is one of my rarer streams that's gone past 12 o'clock, even though I started the stream at 11. My bad, man. I started the stream at 11. Shout out to Ainsley in the chat. They say they need to worry about the obesity and low birth rates. That's too late. That's too late. Useless degrees. Which post should I? You said post the link to a post. Which link? And by the way, Nick, if you're probably better off asking me via Instagram if you do have one. If you want a certain link or something like that, then I can actually it'll be easier for me on my end. You see. Pyro says Pink Book Lesson talked about a female enabler who took her friend's daughter video in the show to show her boyfriend. What in the hell? I be hearing stories like this. Now, I'll say this. I like Pink Book Lessons, right? Because she's a Corey Holcomb fan. So but I be hearing stories like that. Or you'll hear, like, I remember hearing have you ever heard like these stories from these rappers, right? When they be on tour and they'll talk about, oh yeah, I had a daughter and her mom in the same bed, and they'll be like, what? They're not lying about these things, guys. they're, they're not lying about these things. Or you could look at the R. Kelly situation. You literally had parents, or specifically mothers, a lot of them, but parents in general, just bringing their young daughters to R. Kelly, despite the rumors. And this is usually what happens, where you'll have a celebrity and they will show interest in a kid or whatever, and the parents just let the kid be with the celebrity just because he or she is a celebrity. And they're not taking it as, well, look, just because he's a celebrity doesn't mean that's not a creep. That's still a person that you don't know. But because the person is a celebrity, the parents will literally just sell the kid to the celebrity. Literally sell the kid to the celebrity. So all these things about like trafficking and all these things, yeah, Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller comes to mind. I completely forgot about this thing. That dude is a legit, like, this dude is a predator, but for some reason he was still able to get his movie off. I can't, for the life of me, I don't even know how he was able to get away with that. Like, that is a predator. But unfortunately, because the thing is, if it's a male predator that's also LGBT, whatever, they're not gonna put him on blast for that, right? But yeah, Ezra Miller definitely comes to mind. That dude is a predator, but for some reason still got his movie off. Meanwhile, Jonathan Major, he's running away from a bitch trying to hit him, and he loses everything. Wild work, man. It's wild.
Yeah, eventually I just wanted it to be over, so eventually I did what they said.
Yeah.
And when the raping did finally stop, when they finally got what they wanted, I locked myself in the bathroom, and it was starting to get light at that point, and I eventually came out, and they had ordered room service and were sitting there eating burgers and French fries, watching TV. I didn't know if they would kill.
What is she talking about? When the graping stopped, you on a porn, you're shooting a. You're shooting a corn scene. That's your job. That was your job. That's the job that you chose to do. What are you talking about when the graping stopped? There's no what? What are you talking about? Is she even allowed to do this? Ain't these like, like when you especially when you're at these studios like the I don't want to say their names, but you know the popular ones, right? When you're doing Razzers and Angros, right? Bang Bros and all these things, right? When you're at these studios, you got to sign contracts and all this stuff, right? So is she even allowed to do this? Like, this is crazy. But let's replay this video. This is wild. I can't believe she's doing this.
Kill me.
Right.
I was quite terrified of that. And then it got more and more threatening. And then like, oh, do you want me to hurt you now? Do you want it to be rougher? And every time I didn't look like I was enjoying it, they would refilm the scene. Yeah, eventually I just wanted it to be over. So eventually I did what they said.
Yeah. Ma'am, you do know, like, even like the males that do these scenes I've seen corn stars even talk about this, like where basically if a female can't do a scene, they could just replace you. But if a man can't do the scene, it's literally like, damn, we can't find it. Like, say if a man got hurt or he caught an STD, or he was just in, he couldn't do the scene that specific day. They can't find a replacement. So I'm pretty sure. I don't know what it is. I think. Why don't they interview the men? Why don't they interview the men in these that quote unquote regret doing pornography? It's probably not that many, but at the end of the day, they probably suffered more because the men in that industry are really spread thin. Because if you actually want to make money in that industry, you have to do rainbow stuff. Because if you're a straight male doing straight scenes, there's only a few dudes that they choose from. Like, so I'm pretty sure those dudes that do all of the few dudes that do all of the scenes, you really think they enjoyed doing all of those scenes? Like, they enjoyed every single time that they were on camera. They really, I don't, you know. That's why I like this whole thing about, oh man, we doing a war, you know, a war on adult films stuff. It's all that is just virtue signaling, because I'm pretty sure there's because there's only a few men in that industry, especially when you're talking about the heterosexual scenes, right? There's literally is only like a group of men, like a group of a few group of men, and they're doing like all of the scenes, damn near. I'm talking about all of the scenes, and it's just like a few dudes that's got all of them. So if a woman can't do a scene that day, if she's sick, if she's not up to it, she can literally be replaced. So this whole stuff talking about, oh, they forced me to do this scene as a woman. No, that's false. that is false. That is false. Now, if a dude doesn't want to do a scene, he still has to do it, because it's basically they don't have that much of him compared to her. So that alone, this is where I know she's capping.
And when the raping did finally stop, when they
this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, man.
Finally got what they wanted, I locked myself in the bathroom, and it was starting to get light at that point, and I eventually came out, and they had ordered room service, and we're sitting there eating burgers and French fries, watching TV.
So what? That was a bad thing? They fed you. They gave you money. The fuck is she complaining for? Because the scene she didn't enjoy doing this, the scene that she signed up to do. What is she talking about? I remember in 2022 I did a video with talking about the male film star. His name is Rico Lewis, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can find that video on my YouTube real quick, because that was a very important video that I did in 2022. That's when I came to the conclusion, like, I'm like, it's over. I was like, it's over. I think I even I think I titled the video "Enjoy the Decline," which is obviously an ode to Aaron Clary. That's an ode to Aaron Clary. That was a tribute to Aaron Clary, but that's what I labeled the video. Enjoy the Decline. See if I can find that video. Yep. So this is a video I did in if you guys can see that top screen, where I said enjoy the decline, and it was a no jumper interview that Rico Lewis, I hope I'm saying his name right, Rico Lewis did with Adam 22, where he explained he got a grape case on set. So he did a shoot with a fellow star on the set, and he caught a case off that set. So he caught a grape case and literally got prison time or jail time, whatever, before he was found innocent. But he still had to spend time in jail. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he did have to spend some time in prison. But he was being held down for a while before he was cleared of his innocence. And it was just a scene that he did with a girl. He thought everything was all good, and then he said the next day he's like, the next week I was in cuffs. he was like, what happened? But apparently after the scene he did with the girl, she said she went straight to the hospital and did a grape kit. It's wild. It's wild, but if you guys get the chance,
we're in trouble.
Yeah, I did this in 2022. And this is the first thing I said in the video. I was like, I said we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. We're in trouble, America. We are.
I did that in 2022. Let me see. I think I did a shorts off this too. Wow, nice.
Have you ever noticed, like, whenever a girl breaks up with a guy, they always say the same thing about the dude. He was controlling, he was abusive, he was insecure. It's always these top three things. Have you ever?
Okay, that's a short I did off that video, but let me see. But yeah, it's just, that video, I did that in 2022. That's when I was like, oh yeah, we're in trouble. We're in serious trouble with this stuff. But now you have this thing where you see how they've been trying to push this thing where there's like where they're saying we need to ban pornography. The porn industry is a dark thing and blah blah blah. But they're not really trying to ban it. They're just, because I always ask, okay, if you're gonna ban pornography, are we also deleting OnlyFans? I don't think they're trying to delete OnlyFans. They're just trying to delete all the other free pornography that's on, these websites, right? Like P-Hub, Hamster. I don't want to say the first letter of it. The Hamster one. All these other websites that have these free pornography videos. I think that's really what they're trying to push for, and it's just a virtue signaling attempt. Because okay, you're saying you want to ban pornography because of women are actually getting trafficked on there, which is cap. But say if that's true, fine. Are we also deleting OnlyFans? I doubt it. And if we are deleting OnlyFans as well as the pornography, you're going to see women marching to keep pornography. Trust me on that. If I'm talking about if they're doing the ban for pornography and we're including OnlyFans in that, you're gonna have women be it's gonna be women marching on Washington. You're gonna see all these IG models, all these bitches, all these 19-year-old, 18-year-old bitches, 20-year-olds, cosplay models. They're gonna do I thought they're gonna do a large scale 304 walk. If they decide, like, say if they decided to ban pornography, but then we also take away OnlyFans, women are not gonna want that. They're only supporting the whole, we're banning pornography now because they think they're going to be able to keep their Instagram and their OnlyFans. But that's a whole other story for another time. Yeah, it's this guy here. What's his name? Gianfranco Martinez. I don't know what his heart is behind this, but dude, stop. just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And by the way, if you actually want to not do pornography, you can't have social media at all. It's too much. There's too much ass on Instagram. There's too much pornography on Twitter. If you really want to quit it, you have to delete your Instagram and you got to delete your Twitter. If you really want to stop it. How am I gonna make money? How am I you could do a Twitch. Twitch don't allow that stuff. You could do Twitch, you could do Kick, I think, but especially Twitch they don't allow that stuff. You can run off your platform and do something positive on Twitch and literally just stay on Twitch. But if you're really serious about this whole we need to ban pornography, delete your Twitter and delete your Instagram. But I already know you're not finna do that. You're not. But we'll just let's just move on. Let's move on to Karrine Steffans. because the normies be getting me tight. Pyro said, Chris, you know I met your buddy in real life. Oh, who? Who'd you meet? Oh yeah, like Ezra Miller was wild. I don't know how he got away with what he got away with. Oh, you talking about he said Pyro the Flame Cream said I watched him. He's talking about Rico Lewis, by the way. He said I watched him smashing. Oh, he said I'm joking. I meant no one. Yeah, but he's talking about Rico Lewis. He said I watched him smashing all the B-dubs and the white women when I had DVDs when I was a kid. Yeah, Rico Lewis. But like I said, do you know how many scenes they got Rico Lewis doing? You think Rico Lewis enjoyed all of his scenes? Please. Like they just like women feel like just because they didn't enjoy it or they regret it that it's great. I'm like, do you know how many chicks that men have smashed, they didn't really enjoy it, but they just because they initiated the situation or because they were like, okay, we finna have sex, just go through with it. But yeah, like now the revisionist history that you got these adult filmmakers, these adult film stars, these OF stars. I mean, stop it. Nick said, hell, that dude from the vampire movie Morbius is getting away with it still. Who's that? Let me look that up. Morbius. What's the actor's name? You talking about what you talking about? Not Jared Leto. Maybe it is Jared Leto. And if you are talking about Jared Leto, you might be correct. Hold on. Yep, Jared Leto. You might be correct on that. I did a search on Bing. And I was like, Jared Leto? And then I was like, you know what? It might be him. It might be. Oh man. Like I said, there's certain people they get away with certain stuff. I knew Jared Leto was protected when he did his remember when he did the he played the Joker in the for one of these DC films, but it was terrible. But he was still getting opportunities after opportunities. I was like, oh, he's one of these guys that just be getting opportunities. but he's a freak. Then I'm like, he must be a freak. You know, when you see like certain dudes that just keep getting opportunities, it's either he's like well connected in terms of like family wise, or he's doing like freaky stuff behind the scenes. It's a whole other story though. Let me see. I'm gonna do a. Is Jared Leto Jewish? Let me see. He has identified as having a Catholic upbringing. Additionally, that's not good. Catholics take another L. Catholics take another L. Anywho. Yeah, he might be one of them freaky dudes. But anyway, let's go to let's go to Karrine Steffans before I forget the main event. So already they had asked Karrine Steffans about her past relationship with Diddy. And anybody that doesn't know Karrine Steffans, she's a well-known, like, this is a self-proclaimed 304. This is not like speculation. Like her nickname is literally Superhead. That's her nickname. That's what she was known as. Her nickname is Superhead. Right? She's written books about how many rappers and people that she dated and slept with, blah blah blah, etc. And when we're talking about the 90s and the early but specifically the early and mid 2000s, that's where she made her name as one of the most notorious 304s in the rap industry, right? So she's on Piers Morgan. She's given an interview. Right. And now they had asked her, what's your past relationship like with Diddy, etc. And she gave all these vague answers. A lot of, plausible, a lot of plausible deniability. So much so, they asked her, do you remember what it was like when you slept with Diddy? And she was like, I don't remember. Now, just for her saying that, people are starting to wonder, is she trying to amp up a lawsuit against Diddy? Because she's basically hinting at, Diddy took advantage of me. That's basically where the way she's wording it. It seems like she's leaving room for people to make that assumption. So this is quite interesting. So we're gonna watch these 4 minutes. Obviously, the interview was way longer than that, but this is the main part of it.
Did you actually ever have any kind of sexual relationship at all?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you actually have any kind of sexual relationship with Diddy at all?
No, Diddy and I did not. No, well, not to my knowledge.
What's interesting? You see, hold on for a second. Off rib, she's capping. Because look at this.
Did you actually ever have any kind of sexual relationship at all?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you?
She knew exactly what the hell she's. She knew exactly what the hell he just said. She needs to stop it. Oh, Nick said Will Smith. You've seen that Corey Holcomb video where he talks about Eddie Griffin. You're going to have to be a lot more specific about that, only because Corey Holcomb has, wax, like Corey has a lot of respect and admiration for Eddie Griffin. So you're going to you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific than that. He talks really well about Eddie Griffin all the time. But in terms of what Corey Holcomb talking about Will Smith, Corey Holcomb's been pretty consistent about Will Smith for years now. So you need to be a little bit more specific about that as well. Because Corey Holcomb's been talking about Will Smith being a freak and all this, like I'm talking about for years. Basically a decade now. Yeah, for a decade now. Corey Holcomb has been very consistent about what the Hollywood game is. And I remember Corey Holcomb used to get so much flack for saying, "Oh man, Corey, all you say is everybody gay in Hollywood." Now we're in the year 2025 and everybody is suspect. And then but the problem is we don't apologize to guys like Corey Holcomb. We just act like he never said anything. We just move on and just act like he didn't even put us on game. This is what we do to the truth tellers. We just act like this is what we do. We act like Cat Williams predicted everything, even though you had guys like Corey Holcomb literally. We'll say, oh, Cat Williams predicted everything that's going to happen in 2024, even though Corey Holcomb has been putting these people on blast for I'm talking about for decades now, putting these people on blast, right? So we'll give another truth teller the credit, even though you like I said, Cat Williams is a truth teller, but I'm just saying I haven't really seen any apologies for Corey Holcomb for being right about Will Smith, being right about Diddy, being right about all these people, basically all of these people, and the faggotry that has run rampant in that industry for God knows how long. But the problem is when he said it, or when people like him say that, they just think, oh, you just sour grapes. Oh, you just mad because you couldn't make it in Hollywood, or oh, you don't know what it's like. But he was spot on. And I'll say this: watching Corey Holcomb, he gave me like the bravery to really peep game. It's because there was a lot of dudes where you'll see fruity signs here and there, but you don't want to believe it. Right, you'll see certain things like recently, Corey Holcomb's been going in on LeBron James being possibly right, and I've seen some things for a while now, but I've ignored it because I have respect for LeBron, right? And I have respect for his, the family structure that he's created, but. Like Corey Holcomb made a joke last Tuesday on LeBron. He said LeBron, he's like, yeah, LeBron needs to when he goes in free agency, he needs to go to the Atlanta Hawks. I think he'd like it down there in Atlanta. I was like, no. I was in the chat. I was like, no. I will say this: that would break my heart if I found out that LeBron was on the down low. That would break my heart. But anyways, I've seen some things where I'm like, there might be something there, and I've ignored it. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people Corey Holcomb has put out there, and I was like, you know what? You're right. You're right about this actor, or you're right about this actress. Corey Holcomb was the first person that put Dr. Cheyenne Bryant on blast for secretly having a girlfriend. He was the first one to put that out there, but Corey Holcomb got zero credit. He got zero credit for calling out Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's credentials, being the first person to actually call out her credentials. And I'm talking about way back when, even when we're talking about, we talking about 2017, 2016, right? 2015. It's just he's not gonna get the credit that he deserves. So Chris, he says, Pyro asks, he asked Chris, if you do crime, corn. He said, okay, Chris, if you do corn, they look down on you like women, or it's worse. So I guess you're trying to ask, if you're a man, if you do corn, do they look down on you like women? Well, I don't know. I've never, I don't know what to say about that, because people do know that in terms of when it comes to pornography, if most like you're not gonna really make money as a straight man in corn, right? Because it's centered around the female. So those small percentage of dudes that you see in all those videos, that's only like you can literally name these people on your like you can name these people on two hands at most, at max, right? Most dudes are not making money in pornography unless if you do rainbow stuff, right? Unless if you're doing some male stripping on the side, right? Or some, male dancing on the side, you're not making no real money as a straight man doing pornography. So when it comes to like the status part of it, I don't know necessarily, but I'm pretty sure it's harder. I'm pretty sure it's also hard on those dudes when people recognize them in public. You know what I mean? Because the dudes know who they are, but dudes don't want to be known as like gay for like giving them their their proper. So, that's something a perspective that I've never really thought about, but those guys usually get taken for granted. Okay. Let me play the video though. Let me play the video.
Actually have any kind of sexual relationship with Diddy at all?
No, Diddy and I did not know. Well, not to my knowledge.
Oh, so she was gonna give a regular answer, and now she's gonna try to put the plausible deniability out there and act like, if something did happen, I don't know. This is not right. Like, this is not right. She cannot be serious, man.
So what do you mean by that?
And I bet you she probably already wrote in her book about her encounters about her sexual escapades with Diddy. She probably already read it down, and she already probably wrote it down in her books. And now she's trying to do the whole plausible deniability. Oh, not to my knowledge. I don't remember what happened. Stop. Come on, man. Stop it.
Not to my knowledge. I don't. Honestly, not to my knowledge. I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you actually have any kind of sexual relationship with Diddy at all?
No, Diddy and I did not know. Well, not to my knowledge.
So what do you mean by that?
Not to my knowledge. I don't. Honestly, I'm questioning a lot of things right now.
What you think?
Here we go. Here we go.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think anything right now. Just not to my knowledge, because honestly.
That's a very strange response, though, to not remember whether you did or not.
Yeah, isn't it? It is.
You know who she reminds me of right now? Remember Mariah Mills? She was she was trying to put that fake case on Zion Williamson. This is what she's reminding me of right now. And you know how everybody was just making fun of Mariah Mills because she was clearly bogus. Like Mariah Mills, she was so bogus with her joint. This is basically the same thing to me.
Yeah, it is. Because honestly, Piers, before I went through my text, I hadn't read Confessions in 20 years. I wrote it. It was painful to write. So I never wanted to re-traumatize myself and go through those years again. And think about this. I'm a middle-aged woman at this point. I don't want to go back into my 20s and see what happened. But in gathering information for this interview here, reading that passage again for the first time in 20 years, I questioned a lot of things. Like, well, why was he so afraid? And why did he try to, make my boyfriend feel as if I wasn't trustworthy?
Because you weren't. You were cheating on your boyfriend with him and other rappers. What do you? He tried to make my boyfriend seem I wasn't trustworthy. Well, clearly you weren't, because during the time when you were with your boyfriend, you were still sleeping with other rappers. Wow. Let's repeat that one more time. This is wild work.
Afraid. And why did he try to, make my boyfriend feel as if I wasn't trustworthy. And
do you think he
only
took advantage of you when you were under the influence of alcohol and drugs?
I don't know.
You see, so shout out to Piers Morgan for being very specific with this question. He's like, where he just outright told her, "Do you think Diddy took advantage of you while you were under the influence of alcohol or drugs?" And now she's saying, "I don't know." Ma'am, that's you can't be saying that. It's either yes or no. This is a yes or no question. Like, this should already have been confirmed. This is not no I don't know situation. You can't start no lawsuit on some I don't know. But this is why people were in the comment section, and people were even like, on the blog sites, right, on Twitter, right, X, whatever. That's why they were like, is she gearing up for a lawsuit against Diddy? And that's a very plausible question. That's something that when I saw this, I was like, what is she trying to save the dirty details for a lawsuit or something? What is she doing here? Talking about, I don't know. I plead the fifth. These are simple questions to now. She's trying to make it seem like something happened. Something nefarious happened, or something nefarious happened to her against her will, with Diddy being involved.
Honestly, I don't know. And I don't know.
You were under the influence of alcohol and drugs?
I don't know. Honestly.
Do you think he took advantage of you when you were under the influence of alcohol and drugs?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. And
but do you fear that's the
before.
case now from everything you've read?
Honestly, yes. Given the context, now that I know, because again, I never knew any of these things about him before. So the things that I learned in the trial, I did not know. I never saw that side of him. I did not know. I never understood. And again, in 2005, when I published Confessions, it says I didn't understand why he was so fearful of me, because our time together was pleasant. And I was like, wait, what is he so afraid of? What does he not?
You're proving his point. Why did he fear me? You ever like see some certain ambitious man? Why doesn't he want to communicate with me? Because he sees exactly what you are. A whore that likes to run her mouth. I mean, because it's not necessarily that you're just a hoe, because if you were just a hoe, right, that can just be paid off and you were silent, there's really nothing to fear. You're just a hoe, right? Now, if you're just a woman that's not a hoe, but you're silent, nothing to fear. But you're a hoe, you're messy, and you like to put people's business out there, and you a slut? Nah. Of course, Diddy was gonna be like, I don't know about this one. Let me stick to the male escorts off of Craigslist. Let me stick. Yeah, that was Diddy was like, ooh, get Karrine. Can I add her? Nah, she gonna run her mouth. We gonna stick with the Craigslist. We gonna stick with the male escorts for Craigslist. This is wild work.
Want me to tell? I didn't see anything at that point. I did not know. I never understood. And again, in 2005, when I published Confessions, it says I didn't understand why he was so fearful of me, because our time together was pleasant. And I was like, wait, what is he so afraid of? What does he not want me to tell? I didn't see anything at that point. At that point, I hadn't seen anything. At that point, we had, I thought, just a friendly, platonic night together. So I was confused then. And 20 years later, I'm confused now. So,
okay, so did you sleep with him or not? So she's saying everything was platonic, but you're talking about you don't remember. Okay, she says she don't remember what happened, but now she's saying everything was platonic. Miss, you got to choose one here. Did something happen or not? This is not a toy. Like, what are we doing? So she's saying we had a platonic friendship, right? But now she's saying, I don't remember what happened the night that we spent together.
So, to my knowledge, I've never had sex with Sean Combs. We never had that kind of relationship.
Okay. But now why you're saying you don't remember what happened? This bitch weave too tight. This bitch can't even keep up with her own lies. Yo.
But you can't be sure.
Given what we know now, I can't be sure.
And how does that make you feel?
And that saddens me.
But how does that make sense? You already said you remembered that you knew that he didn't sleep. You didn't sleep with him. He didn't sleep with you. But now you're saying I don't remember. I mean, that could work with the white bitches with the Bill Cosby situation, but Mrs. If your name is Superhead, I don't think that's gonna work with you, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
It saddens me, honestly. Yeah, because honestly, during this entire process, I've been shying away from publicity and just letting the trial unfold. I knew things from just being around and people talking, but I didn't know what was going to come out. There's a few things that I saw that without context were strange to me, but I didn't understand them until the trial. And so I've been quiet this whole time, and I disappeared off of social. I just disappeared for the past year waiting for this thing to unfold. In the unfolding of what I believe to be facts, and definitely the testimonies of Cassie and Jane and even some of the men, and then looking back at the text, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, when he said, if anything got out, and I'm like, and I remember at the time being so confused, like anything like what got out? Like nothing happened. We hung out. You were kind. At some point I went to sleep. I don't know when, but I woke up and then we had breakfast and you were kind and I left. Nothing happened. I don't know, Piers.
Low key, she snitched on herself. Nothing happened. She keeps, nothing happened, ma'am.
It just, I feel, and just in the last 24 hours, I question what I thought I knew about my time with him.
You've detailed in your books romantic relationships with a lot of famous people from that world: Jay-Z, DMX, Van Diesel, Lil Wayne, Method Man, even Bill Maher, LL Cool J, Mr. Carl, and others. So you had a lot of famous guys you dated, and who knows what the nature of what happened.
Famous guys she got fucked by, not necessarily dated. I think even to use the word date would be a strong word for Mrs. Superhead. Right.
What Diddy was about. But do you feel that this whole world has now changed?
Let's look at some of the replies. Hey, yo, man. These people in the replies already got me laughing. Said her name is effing Superhead. Let's be effing serious. I'm sick of this BS. Somebody said, get her the F out of here. Facts. Yeah, she capping. Oh, come on. Somebody said, imagine having a drug Superhead. Nah, she didn't get drugged. Somebody said, another broke ass female that don't know if she did or not. He said, bitch, you know you wrote a book on every ninja, and I'm sure drugs don't work on you. Facts. Somebody said, these 304s are getting out of control. Somebody said she was the most popular 304 of all time. How? Yeah, like I'll say this with Superhead, you ain't gonna get no money out of this. I don't know what she's trying to do. She needs to stop it. This is yo, this is crazy work. Somebody said the money is running low and her Caribbean scamming ass sees a payday. That's the look. Oh Lord, we have a one of the FBAs bringing the Caribbeans into this. throwing the shots at the Trinidadians and the Jamaicans and the Haitians and the Saint Lucia, the Saint Lucians, right? So somebody said, wait, she discussed in detail about them having sex in the book. She didn't say his name allegedly because she was paid not to. Like I said, she don't even remember her own lies. But yeah, she wilding. But nah, that's not gonna work. This bitch lying like a mom. She's just straight capping. Straight capping.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop your fucking lying.
Yeah. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Somebody said, oh well, bitch, get in line. That's what I was about to say. Somebody said, I hope she has proof and a dream team of attorneys. Diddy out here beating the feds with a dozen lawyers. Facts. I don't know what she out. Oh man, she needs to stop it, man. Stop it. Yeah, anyways, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Nothing more needs to be said about that situation. That bitch is capping. Straight capping. It's wild work. Wild work. Let's see if we got any other videos. Oh, watch this. Man, I've been vindicated a lot lately. This is crazy work. I've been vindicated. Remember when I keep saying, like, I don't know if you guys remember when I would do like those shows with AJ when we would not necessarily debate, but he would ask me which profession do I think is the number one thought profession, right? And I always said teachers over nurses. That's always just been my opinion. This has been my opinion since I was a kid, mind you. I'm talking about like when I was a child. I've always noticed the things that teachers would do. You know, and for some, I don't know why people are so slow to it, because people just think, oh, well, you think teachers are sleeping with kids. It's not. I'm not talking about sleeping with teachers sleeping with kids. I'm talking about teachers. I've seen teachers just be openly flirting with janitors, dog. I've always told about the story when I was in elementary. When there's a specific elementary school I went to. We had two janitors. We had two janitors, and I know I'm probably putting myself on blast with this story. We had two janitors. It would be married teachers openly flirting with Mr. M and Mr. P. That's what I'm going to call them, because I remember their names. We're going to call them Mr. M. No. We're going to call them this. We're going to call these two people Mario and Luigi. Right? We had janitors that basically resembled Mario and Luigi. I'm not making this stuff up. We would have teachers openly flirting with these people. I'm talking about in front of the kids. In front of everybody. And I already knew what that was. I knew exactly what that wasn't. No, oh, we just playing. Yeah, we just. Oh yeah, that's just my work cousin. Nah. These dudes never missed a day, mind you. Never missed a day. If is either both of them was there or one of them was there. None of them ever missed a day. And I know, especially one of them specifically, but I know Mario and our Mario and Luigi janitorial staff, they were smashing a lot of the teachers at that school and at my elementary school. And I will say this: like, if people, I think people are gonna hear this. I think some people might hear this that live in Connecticut. They might know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I don't expect Ainsley to know because we lived in different cities, and Ainsley, you don't have to put the city that you live in. Don't do that, because then people are gonna know exactly where I live, right? But I'm telling you, and it's not just the janitors, because I often, because people kind of underestimate the janitors because they're janitors, but people forget when you're dealing with the janitorial staff or people that do maintenance or people of that order, right? People don't understand, like the janitors, they got all the keys. They got all the keys to all, like, in terms of, they have all the keys to all the classrooms. They know all the secret rooms, all the rooms that are not being used, all the spot. They know all the spots. And then they got the keys to all the spots. Now people might think, oh, you taking this too far. I'm telling you. Lorette Hamilton, right? One of the OG supporters of my channel, right? She said that she told what I said to her janitor friend at where she worked at. And she said that all that her janitor friend could do was laugh. Didn't say that I was, usually when something like that happens, all they can do is laugh. Trust me, I'm spot on with this. Trust me. But back to the teachers. The teachers, they'll sleep with the janitors. They'll sleep with each other. They'll sleep with because you'll have a male teacher that'll be there. And if the male teacher is if he's just slightly decent looking, they're going to be doing a lot of flirting, right? And then what happens too a lot of times, what happens is, especially with the male teachers, is either you're there, like when a male teacher finally comes in, it's usually a young, attractive-ish kind of dude, or a dude that's already married, or a creepy looking dude. There's no in between. there's no in between. It's either you get a Chad, or a Chad that's married, right? Or a Tyrone-ish married, or basically somebody with a cool personality. You get a Chad, a Tyrone, or a dude with a cool personality, right? Or you're getting a dude, a creepy, one of these dudes that's creepy looking. And if he's not any of those dudes, that means the guy is already married. That's usually how it works when it comes to male teachers, especially when you're talking about in elementary school. Most of the male teachers that they end up accepting, you can tell that a woman hired. You could tell, like, this was a hire made by a woman that was enamored by the dude's looks, or enamored by his personality or his stature. The elementary school that I went to, it was like every male teacher or male substitute teacher in training that they would bring in for training, these were Chads. They were either or Chad lights or older dudes that had a cool personality, but they were already married. Like they were already married. And then the few male teachers that we had, like that were like permanent teachers that we had. One was a Chad. Two were older gentlemen, but they were like in their, well, I can't say older. The oldest one was like in his 40s, but he was like 6'3" or 6'4", right? Mad cool dude, right? And one was similar, similar, very similar. He was he was a Chad too. So this is, you could tell this was on purpose. This was a selection thing, right? So this is what you're dealing with. So you'll have the female teachers gunning for those dudes as well, right? So we're just talking about elementary school. And now when you're talking about high school, middle school, you'll have female teachers that will openly flirt with the students right in front of you. Right in front, like just right in front of you. Forget the other male teachers or whatever dude, IT worker that's coming in, or maintenance worker that's coming in, or janitor, principal, whatever the case that may be. They be going for the students. You'll have female teachers flirting with the male students. No cap, no diggity. Right? So this is why I always concluded, female teachers, they tend to get away with murder because of the occupation that they have. But I always say this, who are the top 2 professions of females that keep getting caught having secret OnlyFans accounts? It's the nurses and the teachers. Now, this is why I put teachers number 1, is because aren't these the people that are supposedly in charge of, molding young minds, and how teachers are the quote unquote the most important profession you may have? So shouldn't they be held to a higher standard? Yet they be the biggest 304s out there. But anyways, let's play this video right here, which has been basically saying what I've been saying for the past 3 years.
Teacher is apparently the #1 profession that cheats on each other. I just saw this on a TikTok. Doctors, nurses, yeah, teachers was #1.
Who do they cheat? Do they cheat with other teachers or parents, the students? That would be grounds for firing, right? Teachers can't sleep with parents of students, can they?
That happens a lot, actually.
I mean, how would they know? I've known some teachers who have dated parents, yes.
While the student is still in school?
Yes.
I've seen this as well. And I'm talking about in all levels, elementary, in preschool as well. Elementary, middle school, high school. Yes. And then obviously you got, the college, certain male college professors, they be all.
And I think even the girl was dating the guy during the kid being in her class.
Wouldn't that be kind of awkward if it didn't work out?
Oh, so awkward. Yeah, I would never do that. Teachers apparently.
So now they're just sticking to the parents and the teachers and then the kids' parents. That's what they're trying to stick to, but they didn't want to touch the teacher-student relationship type thing that be going on. They were just trying to, stick with the parent-teacher part, but it's interesting. Now it's basically common knowledge now that teachers are most likely to cheat more than doctors or nurses. That's crazy. Especially when they show this. Remember when they showed that female nurses are more, or they said it's like 10 times more likely to cheat than male athletes and male entertainers. That's crazy. So now they're saying teachers at times, because I know that doesn't mean that teachers are overall cheating more than nurses, but they're basically saying in certain spots, teachers are the #1 cheaters over the nurses. So that means even over the nurses, and the female nurses are over male entertainers and male athletes when it comes to cheating on their partners. So that's wild. That's wild. So right here, this is where the normies come in. This is why my channel is important. I know that sounds a bit narcissistic, but nevertheless, this is why this channel is important. So right here, somebody said, when exactly do teachers have time for this? Totally not happening. So this is what happens. When I was in elementary school, because the elementary school I went with, like at the students were very well behaved. So what would happen is, and this happens at a lot of schools, but that it can't happen in every school. But let me tell you what happened in my elementary school. There would be periods of the day where the teachers would give us, okay, I need you guys to read for 30 minutes, 25 minutes. I'm going to leave the classroom for 10, 15 minutes. Don't do anything crazy, blah, blah, blah. I'll be back. And then they'll come back. They'll say that they'll be back in 5 minutes. And then they come back in 15 minutes, right? At my school, teachers would be taking breaks like that very often. And it's not no bathroom break. No, it's not no bathroom break. These teachers will be like, okay, I'm gonna be back in like 10, 15 minutes. They would always assign us to do like some reading or something where we got to do something for like 40, 30, 30, 35 minutes, whatever. They would leave us in the class by ourselves. And then they would come back at whatever time. And they would pick their spots and when they would do that. And look, I done seen certain people knock on the door and then all of a sudden they leave the class and then we don't see them for 10 minutes. And then if they're 15 minutes, then they come back. What do you think they're doing in that? Do you think they're being productive? Dude, I used to be like, there was a time in second grade, I was in the principal's office like damn near every other day. So like I would get in trouble, then I would have to stay in the principal's office for the rest of the day. This would happen at least, especially there was a time like this was happening like once every other week, right? And the stuff I would hear these teachers say, these teachers that be coming back and forth from their classroom and coming all the way to the office, they were not, trust me, they were not being productive. They were talking about other teachers, gossiping, talking about students. Like they were not doing anything productive, trust me. When these teachers be taking these little breaks, whatever, leaving the kids in the classroom, let's not put it outside of the realm of possibility that they weren't doing nefarious actions. Okay. So somebody said allegedly teachers tend to cheat with other teachers. It's mainly because they have shared trauma from being in education. Again, allegedly. And mind you, when it comes to other teachers, it don't matter if it's the same sex, right? So you will have female teachers that will cheat on their spouse with another female teacher. Yes, this happens. It is more, I'll say this is more often than people give it credit for. So somebody said, no way, teachers don't have time to go to the bathroom. Well, that might be true in certain schools, but I don't think this guy pay attention. He doesn't. Maybe it's just me because I'd be paying attention to what what the adults were doing when I was in school. I used to really take a really close look at what the teachers were doing. I used to be like, what are y'all doing? But nobody would ever call them out. And anytime I had anything to say about the teachers, people just thought I was sour grapes because I got in trouble all the time. But it is what it is. See, it's a lot of people, they don't want to believe it. If you look at the comments, they don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it. But anyways, it's good to be vindicated. It's good to be vindicated. Because eventually this will be like common knowledge. Eventually this is going to be common knowledge because teachers, to me, are the biggest 304s. Somebody said teachers as the number one, not even close. So this is a guy that pays attention. This is a guy that pays attention. Somebody said my third grade teacher married the dad of one of my classmates. Yeah, that happens a lot more. Yeah, that happens a lot. Somebody said one of my friends teaches at an elementary school. Since he's one of two males on the entire campus, he has a lot of options. I will say this. If your teacher's like if he's slightly attractive and he's a male and he's not a creep, all he has to do is be a man and not be a creep. He's gonna have options, believe it or not. I don't even think he has to be a Chad. That's just my opinion. Somebody said with the janitors in the custodial closet. Yeah, this is what I was just talking about. Somebody said, please tell me you don't know this from personal experience. Dude, I used to remember when I was talking about Mario and Luigi. I used to literally see Mario and Luigi literally having walks. Literally walks. They would have walks with these teachers. They would just be walking again. I'm not talking about just talking. No, I'm just taking a walk with Mr. Mario. We just took a walk. I used to see this a lot, right? They weren't even hiding it they weren't even hiding it. Somebody said it's firefighters according to statistics. I'll say this, yeah, female firefighters. Well, you got to question any, like, if a female is doing it, if she's being a cop, a military, you always got to question why she's doing you always got to question why she's doing that. Especially if you got, like, say if you got a female correctional officer or a female prison guard, like, why are you doing that job? Just why? Because they already know the attention. They're doing it clear off the attention that they can get from those monkeys inside those walls and those gorillas. They know, because they already know. They inside there in prison, they're gonna get all the attention just off of being a girl. They already know. So they should know better. Like, if you, like, there's no way you can be a man and just be like, oh man, I'm my girl, she's a she's a CO, or she's a prison guard. What? Please,
Apparently, the number.
please. Anyways. I clicked the wrong animation. My bad. But anyways, I clicked the wrong one. But anyways, I will look more into that Ben McLemore case that I covered earlier on. When I'm just looking at this, I'm gonna stick to that prediction when it comes to Ben McLemore. It's gonna be 2 years. It's gonna be 2 years from now. Same thing with the Tory Lanez thing. I predicted the same thing with Tory Lanez. I said I'm saying give it about a year or two. The truth is gonna come out about that case. I said just give it about a year or two. 2 years max. 2 years max. When you got sketchy ass cases like that, it can't, especially in the year 2025, when you got witnesses, you got cameras, you got somebody gonna have a video of something. Somebody gonna have a text of something. Somebody gonna have a text of somebody lying to somebody, and somebody's gonna get mad at somebody, and then somebody's gonna leak the text. That's what's gonna happen. That 21-year-old bitch, she gonna get somebody, one of her friends mad, and one of her friends is gonna tell on her. This is how it usually works. The humans are very. This is very predictable stuff. So somebody's gonna get mad at her for some unknown reason, and then the truth is gonna come out. Give it max 2 years. Give it max 2 years with the Ben McLemore situation. I'm telling you. Even, like, let me give you an example. Like, you'll have Arnez J, the comedian Arnez J, did an interview with at Club Shay Shay, right? And he said he found out that his dad wasn't his biological father from his auntie indirectly, right? So what happened was he was looking for his dad at a function or whatever, just one day. And he went to his auntie, "Where's my dad?" And then she goes, "Oh, you mean the dude that raised you?" Now, with the auntie saying something like that, he said, "That's how I knew that wasn't my dad." Because you mean what? You mean when she said, "What? You mean the man that raised you?" She said she literally said, "Do you mean my dad, your dad, or the man that raised you?" The way she implied it was like that. That's how she found out. That's how he found out that his dad wasn't his biological dad. And the only reason why the auntie spilled the tea like that, we already know why she spilled the tea, is because the mom must have made the auntie mad that day. You already know how that was. It's not like it's not on some she felt guilty. The mom made the auntie mad that day at the function, and she decided to stop lying. Because you know how it works. Like you be cool one day, but then the person that you know, he or she is getting on your nerves, and then one day you just decide to tell the truth. That's how it usually goes. So eventually, I'll say it like this: is like the chick. Well, first of all, we're gonna find out the identity of the chick eventually. Somebody's gonna leak it. Somebody's gonna find out who she is and then who she's connected to, and then people are gonna start putting two and two together, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, this is a setup." This is a setup. This is what's gonna happen. So I'll say give it 2 years max, and then I will do my annual "I told you so," whatever. And then I'll just be like, "Look, I'm not gonna do I'm gonna do the same thing like I usually do, like I did with the Tory Lanez case." I was like, "Well, look at these older live streams I did about Tory Lanez, blah blah blah." So I'm gonna do the same thing. Look at this live stream I did about Ben McLemore. This is what I said about Ben McLemore in the year of our Lord 2025. Now is the year 2028, and the truth has come out. Now I am 30 years old, and the truth has come out. It is what it is. That's what's gonna happen. Unfortunately, Ben is gonna have to spend some time off of some lies. He's gonna take and he's probably gonna have to get pardoned or exonerated, whatever that case. But either way, he's gonna have to spend some time. So that's very unfortunate. Now, when it comes back to Karrine Steffans, she's just a liar. she's a liar. And you know what? I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, I'll say this. I got the perfect soundbite for the Ben McLemore case. As soon as I saw the news where it was just like, okay, Ben McLemore has been found guilty of blah blah blah. He's gonna spend 8 years in prison. The first thing I did was this.
Is she white?
What? No.
Can she get the house?
Rochelle.
Is she white?
Stop it.
Do you have a kid with her? Is she white?
That's one of my favorite sound bites that I downloaded. That's like, yeah. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, is she white? that's the first thing when I see, particularly when I see Negro male athletes, they get in trouble with in cases like this. I'm like, that's the first thing I'll be like, is she white? That's so fucked up that's the first thing I think of. But I'm just saying, especially when you're talking about black male athletes are involved. And I've seen too much, you know what I mean? Especially, when you've been in college or when you've been around pro athletes and you see how the women are going out of their way. I'm talking about just out of their way, flirting with them, hanging up on them, basically sexually assaulting them, really. if we want to be quite frank with if we want to be quite frank about it. But that these are the things that are never addressed. These are the things that are never addressed. But anyway, yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it for today. I do not want to go past 2:00. Excuse me. I do not want to go past 2:00. Absolutely not. I do not want to go past 2:00. But like I said, I think this was a productive stream. Very simple, very straight to the point. Very straight to the point. Very, very casual. But I'll say this: I'll keep the Ben McLemore case. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind. I might have to do another live stream maybe tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Let me see. I'm not sure. Maybe Friday. I don't know. But if I am to do another live stream, I'm gonna try to. What I'm trying to make sure what I'm doing is making sure if I do a live stream, is on something that's actually trending. You know what I mean? Because when I look at the numbers in terms of the view counts, right, it's always on the things that's like it's trending that day. You know what I mean? So I do have to take that into account. So I have to really make sure, especially when I looked at my numbers, like when I did, like I remember like a lot of the best like initial numbers that I did in terms of my live streams were the live streams that when I was on the road last year when I was on tour. And I just had my phone. I didn't have no hashtags. I had no production. It was just me and my phone. And I think I did 2 or 3 live streams. I think I did 2 live streams on the road. Let me look up on my YouTube real quick. Look at my YouTube. How many live streams did I do on the road last year when I was on tour? I know it was at least 2. I know I did at least 2. It was at least 2 live streams I did on the road. And I did some decent. I'm talking about like when I left the live stream, when I would end it, it would end on like 700 viewers. Each one. One was like 700 views and another one was 800 views after I left it. And then I was like, I didn't even put no hashtags on this. How am I getting all these views off my YouTube? I'm talking about like I would do the live stream. I would literally just put the title in because when you do it off your phone on YouTube, it doesn't let you do anything else. I even think I didn't even put I don't even remember putting a caption. Like caption pictures or anything. And the numbers I would do off GP just off rip was crazy. Let me see if I can find the ones I did from last year real quick. Let me try to look for it. Yep. So I did. Let me see. I'm looking at this one. Okay, I'm looking at my live stream. Let me share the tab real quick. I'll share it with you real quick. Yeah. You remember Pyro? Yeah, when I was in that restaurant, when I was in Pittsburgh. When I was in Pittsburgh, I did the live stream, and I had to end it when I was in the Thai restaurant because we was late. The Thai restaurant was about to close. It was like, oh shoot, let me not be rude. Dude, my bandmates, they were shocked. They were shocked. At I was showing them my numbers. I didn't show them the channel. I was just showing. I'm like, look, I can't show you what I do on my channel, but look at my numbers. They were shocked. There was like 700 views. Like those views that you see, it was like I would end the stream and I would end it. It would end off of 800 views. I was like, damn, how did that happen? Hold on, let me share the tab. I want to show you something because I still don't understand how that works. Because even like some of the titles weren't really that specific, and yeah. So I did these two on the road. Amber Rose, because Amber Rose was trending for some reason. And then I did this one I did when I was in the trailer. Right? So yeah, when I did Drake's music and the RP, this was when I was in the RV. This is when I was in the RV. Right? And that was my first live stream on the road. And I had that where it says 806 views, when I hit the end live stream, it said 806 views. It said well, not 806, it said 700 and something views, right? When I ended that live stream, right? That was before my first performance in North Carolina, right? And all I put in that title was Drake's music and the RP live from North Carolina. I don't even know how I had all that. I don't know how I had all those views. And then then this is the one in Pittsburgh. That was the one I remember. Pyro said I looked like Dr. Umar. I remember that one. That was hilarious. This was the one when I was in Pittsburgh, but I had at one point I had 40 something viewers, 50 viewers. It was like mad people were streaming on my thing. I was like, how? And I was only on for about an hour and change, an hour and 18 minutes. Let me see if I can find the part when I was walking on that bridge. Hope I can find that.
Rhythm. Name Fight Club.
Yeah, this is the one when I was walking on the bridge, and then I saw the
Show some
IG
support. I don't understand why people take her seriously. I like her. You know what's crazy? I actually like Amber Rose, man. But at the end of the day, people got to understand she's an entertainer at the end of the day. So you can't put so much.
Yeah, sorry for my I like I said, I was on the road, so I didn't shave. I didn't shave. Facial hair grows on me like Wolverine though. Like all I gotta do is just give it about 2 days, and all my facial hair will always grow back.
Much stock behind what an entertainer says, particularly of Amber Rose's ilk, right? You know, the Kim Kardashians of the world, Kendall Jenners, right? These people. So you can't put too much stock. All right. Anyway.
So yeah, I had to just stay on like Amber Rose and those people just to keep it safe, only because the drummer was literally right next to me. The drummer was literally he was right next to me. So I had to keep it really PG. I had to keep it very PG.
Carlos, you're crazy for that. Man. But yeah, tomorrow I am performing. So if you do want to find out, because I am gonna be in a city where I frequent. So if you want to find out, just hit me up in the DMs. Show some support. I'd appreciate that. Because there's
that was when I was because it was right after Pittsburgh, but that night they gave us, I shit you not, they gave us I know I said we had to learn 18 tracks, but it was way more than 18 tracks. It was way more than 18 tracks that we had to learn on that night specifically. I was like, bro, how is this possible? They gave us 18 tracks to learn last minute. I was like, this is crazy. Now, it was up my wheelhouse per se, but it didn't the performance. There were certain songs that it didn't go right. And we were when it came to ours performing our stuff, we were straight, right? But yeah, that because that the last so the New York was our second to last stop, and then we took a break, and then we went to Virginia then for our last stop. We went to Virginia for our last stop. That was kind of bittersweet because like that those days went by fast. Those days went by fast. And then I think I was already coming off a performance, or we were about to perform in Pittsburgh that same day. I could be no. We already performed in Pittsburgh. I think. I could be wrong. But we spent some time in Pittsburgh because when we were in Pittsburgh, they had a hotel. We had a hotel that we didn't have to pay for. Somebody had paid for it. Even though let me not put her on blast, but there was a spot we met with a couple of artists. They knew of somebody. They knew of a mutual. We found a hotel, so we didn't have to stay. We didn't have to stay in the RV that night. That was awesome. That was awesome. We didn't have to use because that RV shower was not. That was not feasible. That was not feasible. Thank God for those RV parks that we were in. We was in a couple of like the RV parks that we were in. They were fine. It wasn't dirty. The RV parks that we stayed in where they had the showers and the bathrooms and whatnot. Thankfully, it was nothing crazy. And then the only place that I had to take a crap in was when I stayed in the RV park in Florida. I think in Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken, when we were in Jacksonville. But it was either we were in Jacksonville or in Texas. I don't remember which RV park it was. But it was like mad clean. It was mad clean. I was chilling. I was chilling. I was straight chilling, man. I was straight up chilling, man.
There's a couple of, I won't say a couple, but there's actually a lot of subscribers from around my area where I live and around that area where I'm gonna be at. So
yeah, that was when I was that next day I was performing in New York City. That was interesting. I remember when there was this couple we had met in Houston, Texas. That was the one show I was surprised. There wasn't a whole lot of people in that one. But when I told them how I met this band, they were like, "Bro, you could have gotten kidnapped or some shit." I'm like, "Nah, you don't get it. I had to take this." They, was because it was not an older black couple. They looked like they was in their 30s. It was one of those younger black couples that looked like they was in their 30s. Oh yeah, and then there was another black couple that gave us money when we were in North Carolina for the road. That was really helpful. I was like, damn. like I'm talking about there was black people on the road that really looked out for us. Straight up looked out for us. Yeah, there was a lot of lovely black couples we met on the road. Lovely black couples, straight up. Because I remember that couple in North Carolina. They gave us money. They straight up just gave us money for the road. It was the dude. The wife was like, man, she was like, I'm so sorry. My husband, he's just so moved. He just want to bless you with something. I was like, oh man, that is proper. That is proper. And then we also learned. I also learned this because there was this one bar that we had played in North Carolina, and the guy was doing a whole lot of renovations, and then we just happened to talk about the money. He was like, "Oh yeah, this is not." The older dude that owned the bar. It's like this older white dude. He was like, "Oh, I'm not making no money off this. This is just I'm just dumping my money in this. This is not." He said it specifically. I made this bar. I'm not making any money off this. I'm just doing it just to just because. And I'm like, this dude doing all these renovations. I'm like, what? And that's what I really learned. A lot of these bars that you see, or even like these music spots, whatever, that's just the owners that just set up these spots like that. They're just doing it just straight out of love for the music or the scenery, or they just want to just have a bar. They know they're not making no money off it. They just whatever. You know, I also I learned that on the road, so that was interesting.
Just hit me up. But it's got to be via Instagram, though. Man, this is a nice view, bro. Yeah, this is the, is there a specific name for the bridge? I don't know. Pittsburgh Bridge.
There's two. There's one.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that part is gonna come up where I see those girls on the bridge. It was an IG model on the bridge with a whole photography, whatever. she literally was on the railing. She did the picture on the railing. I hope she don't fall. I straight up, I was like, man, you really doing this for the love of the game.
Yeah. But I'm gonna shut this off when I get to the restaurant. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm shutting this off. Oh, something's happening right now.
Yeah, this is where I see it. I was like, yo. Did I take an actual clear footage of it? Oh, let me see.
Guys, you saw that? Carlos X said, I'm looking her up. He's stupid. Hey, man, she put it out on the line, man. Putting it out on.
I don't know how Carlos was able to see that. I don't know how he was able to see that. Man, Carlos X got some vision, bro. Because I gave it a quick glance, but I didn't even give a clear
line.
Like a clear picture of it.
It's went right over Pittsburgh Bridge, I think. I don't know. Whatever that bridge is. Right now.
Let me see. I mean, I can hear the laughing, but I don't see him. I don't know how Carlos was able to see that. Maybe it was different that specific that day. I don't know if it got blurred out. Or maybe did I blur it out? Maybe I because there's certain things I do skip. certain things I do take out for privacy reasons, but I don't know how he was able to see that. But anyway. Oh yeah, that's when I remember I addressed that whole bear situation. That whole bear situation when people was talking about the bear. I'd rather a bear than a man. I was trying to tell people, please don't take that seriously. That's just women talking. So Pyro said, Chris, you watch Remnant Princess? No, I don't know what that is. It's a man or the bear situation. Yeah, I remember that specific stream. I tried to address that because I was like, I'm not gonna do a video addressing that whole man versus bear. That's just ridiculous. And I was trying to tell people, I was like, like women, they just be saying shit, right? Like it's not Like it could be a peaceful day. It'll be you and your girl. You could have had a peaceful day, and then a woman will come up with a hypothetical out of nowhere and then ruin the day. So that's why I was trying to tell people. I was like, you know, women they just do stuff like this. They'll say stuff, and then it just became trending. And I will say this: I was just trying to, because like for guys like us, we understand girls, they just do stuff like this, right? But they don't. But what the girls don't understand is these new dudes coming up are autistic as hell. So they're gonna take, like, you say stuff like that, I'm gonna take a bear over you. They're gonna remember that. Like, I won't even, like, if I'm arguing with a bitch or if I'm talking with a bitch and we have a disagreement, I'm not gonna hold against her, you picked a bear over me. I don't care about that, because I know women just be saying shit like that. But I just know dudes my age or younger, they're going to they're going to remember that. Like they don't take to kindly of being compared to a fucking bear. They don't take too kindly to that. You know what I mean? Especially when you look at the work that men do now, the amount of the stuff that dudes do now compared to their predecessors, compared to the men before them, it's a diss to them. It's almost like that would be like me complaining about discrimination in like sports, and like Jackie Robinson is like right there. You know what I mean? It's like there's no comparison. Yeah, so Pyro said, I know what I'm gonna say. I say, ask the bear, let the bear do it for you. When that pregnant woman fainted, why didn't the bear help her? So like that's what happens now. Now like stuff will happen and they'll be like, where are the men? Why aren't the men weren't there to help? And then you'll see somebody in the comment section, they'll be like, ask the bear. Ask the bear to help you out. Right. But I'll say this: dudes shouldn't really take that seriously. And that might be a little bit controversial to say, but I'm just saying, like, women they just be saying stuff like like they'll just say stuff like that. That's the price of being with women. That's one of the, you talk about there's pros and cons to everything. That's just one of the cons when you're dealing with women, right? With most women. And it don't, mind you, don't, like, when people talk about a woman that's mature, a woman that has her head screwed on straight, there's really no age to it, right? So because I remember people and I heard somebody say, like, this is why, like, people looked at the Ben McLemore case, and somebody had made the case. He said this is why these new young NBA players are messing with older women, because they're not going to be dealing with the whole plausible deniability and all this grape stuff and whatnot. And I know what he's trying to say, but just the other week I covered the story on the 40-year-old realtor that's putting a case on James Harden. Putting a grape case on James Harden's estate and blaming James Harden's nephew, right? So when it comes to, maturity or a woman with her head screwed on straight, you just have to hope that you just run into a woman that has her head screwed on straight. And it's not something, I feel like, I don't think you can really look for that. You just have to hope. That's not something you can really look for. That's just something that it just happens. You just happen to run into a girl with her head screwed on straight. You just happen to run into a girl that's not a hypocrite. You know what I mean? I don't even expect, like, I don't like me. I don't care if you're necessarily a hoe per se, but I just want you to be fair, right? You can't be a hoe, but then you're asking me to stop doing what I'm doing, right? You can't say you're a quote unquote good girl, but then you've had all these abortions, right? There's a lot of the stuff that you run into women, the stuff that they claim, there's no congruency in their lives, right? And the ones that do have congruency, even if they're negative, I can at least can respect the congruency. But a lot of women, what they're trying to do, they're just trying to stack the deck. They're trying to, it's the same stuff, you know, what LeBron be doing, you know, stacking the deck, trying to make it a perfect situation as possible, where they put nothing in the game, but the man is risking everything. This is where I come in. I'm like, that's just not fair. I can't rock with that. Right? Even like when we talk about congruency, right? And I'll leave it off at this. Like it'll be a black dude dating a white girl, and it will be a black woman that's mad at that, but you'll find out that black woman is dating a white dude. The women that complain the most about dudes going out with white women are women that have white boyfriends themselves. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, it's not like you would think it's black women that are with black men, or black women that only, no, the women, the black women that complain about men dating outside their race their most are black women that predominantly date white dudes. It's like, so this is why I always be like, you're just like, oh, you know, never mind. So it's just a lot of women out there. It's not even, I'm not asking you to be like I'm not asking you to be perfect, but you have to have some kind of congruency. You can't be stacking the deck and then you can't fathom why dudes want nothing to do with you. Or you stacking the deck and then you meet a dude where you can quote unquote be feminine around because he's matching all your standards, but be shocked that he replaces you because there's so many of you. Like, bruh. But anyways, that's it for today. I went a little bit over time. But yeah, I'm gonna remember what I said about the Ben McLemore situation. I said the same thing with Tory Lanez. I said eventually the truth is gonna come out. Eventually, I don't know when, but I'll say with Ben McLemore, give it 2 years. Give it 2 years max. 2 years max. One of her friends is gonna snitch on her. That's go. Her friend, people, because they're not putting her identity out there yet. Her identity is gonna get out there. Something's gonna happen. One of her friends is gonna get mad at her. Her identity will be leaked, and then people are gonna put 2 and 2 together. People are gonna find out who she is. Oh, I'm not asking for any money. You just can't do that. Please. I already know she got money. Or she got parents that got money. I already know that. That's easy work. Give it 2 years. Somebody gonna snitch on her. So one of her friends is either one of her friends, her ex is gonna be like an ex-fiance, ex-boyfriend, somebody that calls off the marriage. It's gonna be, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, that's what's gonna happen. But anyways, what should we end this video off with? What should we end it? Yeah, we already know. I already know what I'm finna end it off with. I already know what I'm finna end it off with. We gonna do Everybody Hates Chris, and then we gonna end it off with the Why You Lying theme song. That's what we finna do. That's what we finna do. Oh shoot. I'm gonna end it off with my boy. I'm gonna end it off with my boy. But shout out to you guys. Thank you for watching tonight. More coming soon, more in the chamber. Thank you for being patient with me.
Is she white?
What? No. No.
Can she get the house?
Rochelle.
Is she white?
Stop it.
Do you have a kid with her?
Is she white? Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop your fucking lying.